What's up, everyone? Kane here, Captain of the Day's Pirates, coming at you with a Treasure Cup recap for a pretty fun tournament I really didn't expect to get in, hosted by the Booster Box on December 21st. So I'm going to go through the deck list pretty quickly here. I kind of have a picture. Sorry, this video is going to be kind of pieced together a little bit. Traveling with the holidays and just trying to get this out as soon as possible. So going to be shooting it a couple different places and kind of figuring things out. I'm also going to do a short where I kind of run through the deck list and fan everything out in a quick video when I get home too. But quickly here, four Gum Giants, pretty lock standard now. There's no reason not to play the best card in probably the deck now. One Don counter, Don -2, trash a card from your hand, plus 4,000, draw two. There's so much cycle and ability for us. Four Namis, anchoring the deck with how much utility and searchability we are given now in kind of the newest cards that we have available to us. The 8 best 2Ks in the deck, Usohaji ST17 and Sanji from OP07. Usohaji being that. On play, if you have 8 or more Don, rest a 5 or less character. Great for getting blockers out of the way for game-winning attacks. Sanji is also a 6 cost 6K blocker that's cheaper if you have 2 or less Don. It's 3 less cost if you have 2 or less Don in your opponent. So just a flexible 2K that we just love to have. My RAM package is pretty flat at the 8. We do have 3 of the Zoro Juros, and I'm sorry, 4 of the 3-cost Zoro Juros and 4 of the Mr. 2s. Just the 4 best ramp cards that are available to us, going first and going second, and even turn 3 going first is pretty dang good with the Zoro Juro as well. Oh, one last minute decision that I did make going into this tournament was to play those 2 Onamis as additional blockers that can also help you cycle out your hand. If you're 8 or more Don, you can trash a card and draw 2 for 4 Don. If you see at the top of the picture here, Franasoke and Beckman were kind of the 2 cards that I did cut to play those Onamis. They definitely came up. They were helpful-ish, but I did kind of recut them coming out of this event. It was very much a last-minute decision to add those Onamis. 4 Queens. Again, just one of the best card options to have in the deck. It allows you for 11 down plays, big body. It being a 5-cost 6K is all relevant. Then also next to that is 3 of the OP09 Yasops. So just that filling our curve and buffing our leader helps with the consistency piece of the deck so much. Now we have just a way more consistent turn 3 play for all curves, realistically. That also just helps us play defensively and be more effective with our counter. 2 Ben Beckman, 7 cost on play, trash a cost 6,000 power or less. Amazingly flexible in the deck into a lot of matchups. Sanji also I think is being underrated for some of the lethal and pressure opportunities that are given from it. I definitely had it come up in some games that I really liked having it available to me. On to kind of our top end bricks beyond actually all our bricks are down at the bottom now, I think. We have 3 uses Captain Kids. 7 cost power increaser is huge for us. Between Yasops and the other 7 costs, I don't mind cutting one of those just to have one less brick in the deck. 4 9-cost Whitebeards, just helping with the aggressive matchups so much, being so important to kind of grind out for a few more turns. 4 on, I definitely feels like a pretty lock in the deck. 2 new Secret Luffy, that's a 9-cost on play, Don -1, draw a card and get a 10K rush character. Then we do have 2 Gear 5s, that extra turn finisher. That is just such a signature to the deck. I can't believe people are cutting this card at all. And then 2 Gold D Rogers, which again, I think is the new best kind of win condition in ways that you just will never win other games. In this, alongside Gear 5, just gives us insane amount of flexibility down the stretch to close out games that really no other deck can. So from here, we are going to go right into some gameplay. So it is 10 rounds, and I'm going to go through and commentate all 10 rounds. At the end, I will do a recap of the matchups and everything. So if you have any, desire to kind of skip to the end and see exactly how I finished and where that played out. But I think I'll let people that maybe don't know or want to kind of go through the story of the day, kind of go through this way. So from here, I'm going to try and get as much of this recorded as possible right now, but there probably will be some kind of abrupt cuts to some extent, and maybe I'll kind of comment it as it happens. But for now, just kind of jump right into round one. We did get a Shanks matchup.
Jolly Roger the sixes.
Okay, my symbols are wins.
Okay, so yeah, I've noticed a lot of other guys do ones for symbols, so I was pointing out. Yeah, I got
I can't
three.
remember.
7.
I think they won the die roll.
Okay, let me think about this then.
Doesn't
And
usually
they
go up to 10,
elected
so we
to
should
go
go.
second, if I recall
Alright,
correctly.
Okay, sounds good. Then put Sam's do it.
I think I'm gonna mulligan this.
I am keeping mine.
Sounds good.
The guy elected to keep. He elected to
Clear
mulligan.
issue figured out too. Excellent.
Yeah, where I was kind of set up somewhere differently than my office I usually have for this tournament, so I was kind of using some other lighting and some natural lighting to
Split in three
avoid
again.
glare.
Yeah,
So
slightly
later in the
different
day, it does kind of
configuration.
get darker, as you'll see in some of the later rounds.
Put the bottom one on top.
Ends
of
up
the middle
being
one,
pretty
and then
fine.
that on top. Yep, perfect.
Alright. You see everything on my screen correctly?
Still finishing
Yep,
up
that's good.
breakfast during round one.
Sounds good.
All right, it's like 9 a.m. my time,
start us off.
I believe is the start, or 10 a.m. is my time. No, 9 a.m. I'm Central. Turn one Nami.
So much.
Okay.
Now pass the turn.
Alright, I'll draw a turn. Faster.
Active, drawing, done. 6,000 into your leader.
6,000.
Overall, this matchup is supposed to be fairly good for us, but it's still not a walk in the park by any means. They do have quite a bit of grind potential with us.
Sounds good. Alright. 2 going, I'll draw.
I'm like finishing up my breakfast and stuff. It's so funny.
I'll go 7 at lead.
Good, okay.
Here we go.
Active, draw, done. Let's see here. I got 2 up.
Oh, shouldn't
6. Attaching 3 to Zoro. I'm going to swing 7,000 into your leader.
Well, my audio
Untap,
should be
down.
recorded this time.
Okay.
That's a little unfortunate. Hopefully,
Yep, 7 Zoro.
some of the other ones do have audio. Either way, it's sped up, so I guess I don't know how great it would come through, but I was expecting that.
3 on my leader for 9,000 into your leader. Any effects?
I'll go leader ability and just pop your Nami.
Yep, and that's 4K KO, 4
Yeah,
KOS.
he does use the Red Hawk to
7
counter
rounds.
out of my leader swing after taking the Zoro swing. Because Zoro is a 7K at that time, the Red Hawk only KOs my Nami.
Yep, that goes.
Okay. Top 5 for ace, no pass.
Yep. Active, draw, down. Activating leader effect.
Now we're up to 8 down, going up to 9 with our lead effect on turn 4. I think I do just go straight into a new
My leader is 8,000 until the start of my next turn.
Yeah.
8,000 into your leader.
8,000 into their leader.
Pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. 8 done. 8K base right now?
Yes, sir.
I think I was kind of thinking about holding on to this new gate because I maybe had some 7 costs in hand if I recall correctly. And he didn't have like the most pressure on board at this exact moment. But I did kind of figure that being an 8K lead is pretty good.
Yeah,
so he does go 9 here. So I could potentially 2K or I have to 2K there, but I take it. I do believe I only had 1Ks in hand at this time, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yep. I'll go 10 into your leader. 10 into.
Yep.
And then he does a swing in with another 9. To go 2 1s there. Or no. I think it was 10. He's on 8 down. Yeah, it was 10 down in with his or 10K with his leader, and I had to give him a 2 and a 1. I think a 2 came off of life that time.
I will go 8 into your leader.
Going with 8. So if he uses his lead effect, I still get 2 cards out of him.
Go ahead and use leader ability.
Yep. Make it 7.
Make it 7. And
so yep, he does lead effect. And
how many cards do you have now?
That's exactly why I kind of swung that manner. I think at this point I'm considering
to play Sanji. On play, we will return 1 down.
More pressure.
He gains rush and I rest Ace, I guess. Doesn't matter for the rest. Then I will activate my leader effect and active down back. Then I will put 1 on Sanji and swing 8K into your leader.
2 2Ks.
8K into my leader.
This is also again where just Sanji being another threat. It's searchable. It's a 1K. Really love the flexibility of the game. So then we got a couple more cards
And
out of
value my
hand
turn.
there. Must have been 2/2s, which is great. And then the 10K connects. I think he's down to 2
And
or
how many
3
cards?
life at this
4 now.
point.
4 now?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's maybe we're both at 2 life now.
Okay.
I think the previous turn, maybe I'm thinking of a later game. Never mind. Some of the two, and like you do see your opponent kind of fidgeting with their Dom, having a little bit of consideration for like what that could
And you get
imply,
Takeovers, right? Yep.
they're thinking about, can be, a helpful thought exercise at times. I think he might go for a Rayleigh here that I wasn't
I'll go
really
Rayleigh.
expecting. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Since you have 2 or more
I mean, it's a
5K
good
modifiers,
card and
then
it kind of
use
makes
the
sense. I
playback
just
to
didn't
draw 2,
necessarily
sure.
expect it at this moment.
Draw 2, and I'll be trashing.
I think he trashes 10 cost Shanks out of his hand here.
Hmm. 50 Shanks.
Alright.
I'll tap 1 for a building stake.
Mhm.
Target your Sanji.
He
Okay.
does
Or 3.
minus
4.
3K.
And I'll go 7 or 4.
I think it was
7
the
or 4.
Sanji and swung hard
Yeah, I
into
guess
the
so.
Sanji.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go 6 at lead.
Okay. We'll see do Zoro. Okay.
Yep.
I thought about. I think I kind of thought about gianting to protect the Sanji.
Go active.
But I was going to grind out with my value.
How many cards are
Here, I
I'm
believe
at
I
4 again.
end up
you? 4 again. Okay.
swinging and
And
developing
you
a
are
queen.
at 6 still?
1, 2, 3, 4,
Actually,
5.
maybe this is an
5
Onami
Equity,
player.
Yeah.
I did take some notes on how the game overall went, but I wasn't taking, play-by-play personal notes per se.
Guess I can punish you. Oh wait, no, that's why I don't do that. Right, that would have gotten punished. We will go 10 into your leader.
10 into lead.
It's 10. Oh yeah, 'cause I was about to play Onami just to get the cycle on, but I realized that he had 2 down open for Red Hawk, and Red Hawk can KO your Onami if you're not, you know, being cognizant of that.
11 into leader.
So then, yeah, I put 5 on my leader. Now it's 11, so even more pressure through lead effect and or Red Hawk. And then we do
For
Onami,
a Onami.
leaving
Onami will
Giant
trash an
on
Onami.
open.
Draw 2. And
That was
pass
my
my turn.
other Onami that was cycled out there. So in that case, I would have had a Beckman and a 2K in my hand if I hadn't made these changes, which not the worst. But this did just give me a little bit more comfort to kind of grind out another turn or two. So the utility of a couple more Onamis, or some people are playing the Frankie in the deck, makes a lot of sense to me too. In later rounds, there were some scenarios where I think I would have been rewarded more for just playing a little bit more aggressively, and we'll talk about that when it comes up. Surprise my
So 6 into
odds
lead with ace.
do here at all.
Oh, 1K that.
Okay.
1K with the Yasa. My sister-in-law and wife in the next room. A little bit of laughter, no problem. Don't know if it's picked up, but if I check, it's going to kind of mess up the flow worse. So
Go 7 at lead.
I'm going to take up.
then they do play
9
a
at lead. We will 1.
I'll play out a
Crazy guy.
dragon for pressure.
6.
2 down. We'll go 1. Go giant. Trashing a Yasa. -2.
Yep.
Plus 4K. Draw 2.
Okay. Here we go.
Go active. We draw. We down.
Using these giants just like cycling into the late game is so good. Like the fact that we get to radical beam and break even on cards is just so it makes the deck phenomenal. Such an underrated deck that people are not. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating to me because I'm being told that 10 cost Shanks is now the best thing you got to do, and everyone jamming Shanks in the deck. But same people are saying that they're having consistency issues that I just don't really feel like I'm having
So
to that
we'll
extent.
start
Like
with 9,000.
you'll see through these games, like I
9,000 total.
felt
Yep.
very powerful through every phase of all these games, realistically.
Hmm.
Here I swing in 9, kind of expecting a lead effect and a event.
Go leader ability
Okay.
on
Not eight.
your.
Oh, sorry.
So you're at.
Leader
Use
8,000.
leader ability, so you're at 8,000, and I'll give you two 2Ks.
Okay.
Go to 9.
2Ks.
10,000 leader.
10,000
Thinking about investing down, but
Okay.
no, we just give them
All
10.
right. All right.
At
There's
this
that.
point, we kind of think, oh,
Mm,
a Roger wouldn't be the littest, but we're actually
let's
pretty
do
fine even if they go into Roger, if I recall
Right,
correctly.
right.
I think I do develop a queen here, maybe.
Hmm. What's that then?
This is a pretty good grindy game for us, especially considering that we didn't, like, we only saw 1/9 cost.
Start with
Um,
1489.
Yep.
I think I was looking for a giant here.
We will grab, I think that's my Nami pile.
See one.
Usohachi will research.
Hachi. Maybe I had the giant in hand already,
5
and I was
for a queen.
just playing
-1, press
through
it down. Draw 2.
queen,
Trashing the uses Captain Kid.
trash,
And then
ace,
I'll activate my leader effect
kid, activate
and pass my
effect,
turn.
Alright.
2 down open. Can't remember if I'm honestly like this is one of those things where you'll see as you
What
kind
would
of
you add
through
in?
like grind through a
I have 5
tournament,
and 8.
or if you see me
5
kind
and
of
8? Okay.
play, um, you do just have to play to all of your outs sometimes. Like there is a round where I leave 2 down open, just banking on either drawing or getting a second Gum Gum Giant out of life, and I won the game because of it. So like sometimes it's tempting to just go for that extra down in and pressure just a little bit harder, but sometimes just having that out that you maybe don't even expect to need
Hmm.
uh, will continue to clutch you out through an entire tournament.
I'll go 6 at leader.
6 at lead. I will give you a 2.
Okay.
You just go for a 6K
8K
with
leader.
ace. Now he's invested down. You know,
That's 7 left over.
there's
7.
no
Could do that.
opportunity for a Roger from them.
How many cards do you have in hand?
6.
I'll
At this
block with
point, I'm kind of debating whether I want to block or if I
Oh,
want
wait, no.
to.
I'll go 9 at lead.
9 at lead. Um,
If I want the giant out of that
Interesting.
last
What do you
swing.
think for just a second?
I think here I end up using a giant to keep my queen up for combat. I think overall I was in pretty dominant shape here,
There was 6 cards in hand.
regardless, more or less. And I do think he is playing another Rayleigh here too.
I'm going to rest 1, play a Gun Giant, trashing gear 5, -2 down, draw 2 4K.
Gum Gum Giant away the gear 5. I kind of decided that's not how I'm going to win the
I'll
game.
play Relay. Draw 2.
And
Draw 2
that's
multiples.
that Rayleigh is more or less the reason why I decided not to go for that route.
Draw, get down.
Now I believe that allowed me to keep my Usohachi in hand. And I might even have a Roger as well at this point. I think in this particular case I did play the Roger, even though Usohachi probably
So much
been
for saying about
just
this
as
one not
good.
going time.
We started a bit later, so.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine too. Let's get here. So if we're gonna go.
playing out the scenarios, what 2Ks he might have. Obviously, you know, he's cycled through his Shanks, or
we can only get
2
screwed so much.
Rayleighs, right? So we've
Roger?
seen a decent amount of card selection.
10 for Roger, and then we'll start doing the thing. 6 in the lead.
Roger.
6 in the lead.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
6,
10 in the lead.
10.
Yeah, okay.
One case.
Okay, I was trying to think there's a Red Hawk in this. It gets sticky fast, yeah.
Yeah.
GG.
GG. This is a really hard matchup for Shanks.
Yeah, this is definitely one, yeah.
Yeah, so
I would
round
have been a little
one,
upset if I lost
big
round
win
one
over
to Shanks. This is the one I'm
I
supposed
know
to win.
Shanks had a great showing at this tournament
That was a good one,
overall.
though.
There was
Yeah,
a
my late game kind of showed up a little late. I just had the one new gate and a gear 5 for most of the game.
But yeah,
And then drew that Roger. I was like, okay, I think that's better than gear 5 now.
Yeah, I have to play around so much now. I have to play around
New
5, I have to play
gate
around Roger.
until I kind of
Yeah,
realized that
I see a lot of this on one of each. I'm on 2 of each because I just think they're so strong. But yeah, I think when this round 1 Roger, it's a little bit less frightening, but still comes up.
I think not.
I just.
Yep.
And then
round 2 was against a Doflamingo.
and then you're familiar with RP Luffy as far as what I do. 6K and all that.
They're saying that they're not the most familiar. There's also a little bit of webcam lag on this one.
Sorry, you kind of broke up there, but I'm assuming you said yeah.
So, you know, some stuff you can kind of repeat and go through. So, a little bit longer,
They're
but
kind of
not
like.
the worst.
So I get 8 down and go to 9.
This one,
From that 9, I can go to 10. Yeah, he's
I did
guaranteed
win
rank
the
base.
die roll.
Oh, yeah, what's up,
Go
55? I think we're
first.
good to
And I think I kept
go.
my
I guess let me double check his timer going.
I think we're good.
Top 5. I will grab a Usohachi. I'll pass enter.
This game is basically ends up being what you want to see against Doflamingo in general. We got to ramp, and then we get to play new gates and grind out over a couple turns. So he's resetting.
Active. We draw. We down.
And one thing I have
6,000
seen
here.
another RP Luffy player kind of mention too, and you'll kind of see it into this game. I feel like he does take a lot of.
If you like the reading effects on cards,
ends up
I'm
playing
definitely
a teach and activates it a lot.
Appreciate that.
And it does just kind of feel like that the amount of negative cards to develop those bodies does kind of add up over time. But I don't know the deck well enough to specifically say that he shouldn't have been doing it, but I just have seen, I think it was Ian in the Discord was kind of mentioning that he likes when they're using Blackbeard a lot.
7 to lead. Leader effect for
Weevil.
I'll take it.
I have a 2K.
top 5.
And then he plays a second Perona, resets. I'm going into 5. I think I just go straight stock standard. Oh, I was kind of thinking about swinging into the Weevil. Ripping some cards out of hand while we're at it.
Swinging 8,000 into
we do go 8
Weevil,
into the
and
Weevil
on attack, I'll
and
get
get our
active
active
down.
down, so we have another 8K swing into probably face afterwards, regardless of what he does here.
How many cards in hand?
I have 5 now.
There's one of those scenarios where, like, especially when it's into the 6K
And then I'll
bodies,
go
I
8,000
like
to
kind of making them to make the decision whether or not to counter out of that. If they counter out of that early, it might kind of clunk up their later game to give up 2 counter like that. Or
so now
we
6
just
go to
get
7
that
cards.
repetitive threat, efficient piece off the board for ourselves, which is great.
So the Zoro is a
4,000. Yeah, 4,000 base.
4,000.
Now he's on 6 down.
I'm gonna play
Jinbei into a Boa. Oh, he actually does make a slight mistake here. He does put the Don onto Jinbei and attempts to swing with it.
All right, no
I
problem.
said, no, you just played that Jinbei.
Let's use teach effect.
And then he does activate Teach again, putting the Don on his leader and putting a card on top.
And then we'll go 8 into Zoro.
I think he even makes it into an 8K. Was it into Zoro or was it into face? I think it was still into face.
Boa effect. Actually, last one. So 9 into Zoro.
9 in the yep.
Yeah, and a big swing into Zoro, which we're totally fine with.
I'm at 4.
Okay. Draw, down.
Interesting thought from him would have been if he would have swung with the Teach maybe into Zoro instead, and keeping a little bit more pressure on me.
My leader will become a 8,000 until the start of my next turn.
And
I'll spend 8,000 into
but yeah, it's going straight into a new gate and 8K into. I think I do just send it into face at this point. Did I go in?
I believe I'm still at 5. Yep, 5.
Stay.
Drew a card, played the new card.
I'll take that. No trigger.
For sure. And that'll pass. Base 8,000 leader.
Okay.
So now I know he does have two blockers, but those are also his 6K bodies. So if he's going to actually pressure me, he has to kind of invest down into them, most likely. So that's kind of why I was pressured past into face.
Draw turn.
And I think at this point I already have another new gate in hand. So I'm kind of just planning on going straight into another new gate and pushing face and making them use their blockers.
Interesting. Hmm. Yeah,
I
him being
think he
AK
ended up
is
just putting most of it on his leader.
uh,
Yeah.
you would
I
draw.
think he ends up going like
So,
11 on
okay,
his
legal. Okay,
leader.
gotcha. Got like that. So it's still 12,000, correct?
And
So this is 12,
gets
yes.
something
Okay. I will
the
take 12,000.
Weevil
Let's go.
off of lead effect, and that's
No.
my first life taken. We don't mind that at all.
Go active. Draw.
Now that they
Down.
do have
I have
three
7.
6Ks.
Got it. Is that how many cards in
I'm at 7.
The
Okay,
dog
gotcha.
barking
Yeah,
wasn't
just a couple
too
lives
loud
in
on the
before. Gotcha.
camera, on the
Um,
audio.
mhm.
These headphones are supposed to be pretty noise
Now,
canceling, so I think we'll be decent.
Okay, so nice. Why not make it twice?
Yep.
Okay.
Just slam another new
Oh,
gate.
I did.
8K in the
8,000 leader.
face. At
8,000
this
swing
point with
into
the
your leader.
blockers, I'm not going to prioritize singing into the Weevil.
Okay.
We are just going to prioritize the face.
Wow. 2 2Ks? Yes.
10,000 into leader.
He did counter out of that with two 2Ks. Now we got 10K going in the face. I think he does block with that one.
You have 6. And you
Yep. Now we're still an AK leader. Very strong position against them.
12. Man, like, wow, bro. Again. Oh, boy. Oh,
Dude,
man.
I couldn't really.
Okay. So that's pudding.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. These 6 are going back in.
I think I had a giant in my hand
We'll
already.
get
I
me
was
another new gate
hoping
off
to
these
get
5.
out of my hand.
Oh, he did
And
it.
I found another one. So, haha.
That's terrible. Oh,
Cut.
gosh.
Yeah, obviously
Half
pudding
is good.
You're 5.
can
1,
be
2, 3,
relatively
4,
punishing.
5.
But
Alrighty.
also, generally speaking, if we've ramped and we played a big body, we've kind of done what we want to do. And there's only so many
Go
cards
8.
we were really holding on to.
I will give
Yeah, it
you
kind
a
of
1 hit.
sucks if they get, a whole bunch of counter under your hand, but I don't
You
know.
have
Usually
4.
my hands post pudding aren't too bad. Easy 1K for the Weevil.
That's ability. Swing
And
10
he's
at
going
least.
lead
Leader
effect
ability.
with a teach.
To teach.
So he's went 10 in. Plays the teach
And
over
that's
the
10 into
pudding, which
my.
is kind of interesting. Like
Um,
that's kind of surprising to
Yep.
me, like
In that
putting the
case,
second
here we are going
teach on
to
top.
1 Gum Gum Giant, a Gold Roger.
But yeah,
Minus
I
2.
did get a
Plus
second Gum
4K.
Gum
Drop 2.
Giant. I wasn't really ready to play through a Roger
Gum
yet,
Giant. Stop trying to get rid of
so let's go ahead and counter out.
Never.
Alright, I pass.
Draw.
I have 4 cards in hand.
Got it. Relatively speaking, that's just pretty good, right? Is this it? 9K into leader.
We go 8 in, so if he blocks, he still has to give me 2 cards.
How much down do you have left?
7.
Yes. Mm. I'll take no trigger.
I think he takes
We'll
that
give you a
one,
10.
yeah. Then we go 10 in.
10 into leader.
He blocks that one, yep. Go another 10 in. My second 10K swing, putting him down
6
to 0 life at
for
this
a
point.
Sanji blocker.
And then we do play
Pass
a
my leaders back to 6K
Sanji
finally, and I have one
as
active.
just a full value blocker and leave one down
Oof,
open.
finally.
I
4
think
cards
even
in.
as a 6K leader, we're basically
4
invincible at
cards
this
in
point.
life. This does not seem good. Draw.
And I think to that end, he kind of does think relatively hard on trying to go all
Got
in.
That's
What's that?
And I think I just kind of had so much counter
Yep.
and
Make me have it, right?
protection that I was just safe.
All right, the two teachers. I
He
see.
does play out the pick up Gecko because he does have the two
I was thinking that art
teaches,
was even
so
vanilla for
he's
some
gonna be
reason.
able to use that for down regardless.
Two
He
and
would go in with 8. I do go 2 and 1 out of that. He goes in with
Sure.
6. I do take that. I think I realized I probably should have just took the 8 off the bat. Realistically, with kind of where he was committed into at that moment. 8, just taking 8 from that 6K body was probably okay. But
Chances? I don't know. Uh, little teach effect. Put that on top. Let's go.
then he goes in with a 7, I think. Replacing the boa.
We will.
Puts
I mean,
that
I'll take
down
7.
onto the teach. I take that, and again, he can only go
Yeah.
so
And I'm
much
sorry, kind of like that. You did
bigger.
put one on top for the other teacher effect.
I do counter out of that.
Yeah, say 20K with it.
And
Did you
then we
go ahead and
just
report?
finish out with
Yeah.
lethal.
How much?
Round 3. Purple Luffy here. We did lose the die roll when they elected to go.
I'm setting my
And we have a pretty
I'm going second.
good
I'm keeping it.
aggression
Okay.
game that we end up playing out here. So
Okay.
I'll
How you
see
want to do
the
So
kind
split
of
into threes again.
race to the finish.
Got to change it up. I keep on
Because I kept my hand they mulliganed, if I recall correctly.
Or like sleeves.
I think I kept my
Make my
hand
collector
because it
tip.
was
That's
pretty
the
good,
moment.
Yeah.
and they
That's what I was
mulliganed.
thinking.
So that kind of just made me think to keep
I just
it.
got this.
Okay. Draw. Done. We'll use one. For Nami.
Konami. I think I
Five.
made a top deck of that.
That's actually really interesting. There it is.
So here I do prioritize searching the
I'm
Sanji,
gonna go Sanji.
which is, I think,
7 cost.
maybe not
Passenger.
the difference maker entirely in this game specifically. But
I can
I think when they do play, especially if they go first, play a Mr. 2 here. And then when you try and ramp into big bodies, being able to negate that Mr. 2 gives us so much
let's go
tempo
easily.
back in a matchup that's very tempo dependent, quite frankly. So as I'm countering out, I do end up prioritizing the Sanji in hand as a rush threat and to, potentially rest to Mr. 2 or a blocker down the stretch.
Down. 4 for Mr. 2. Active down.
We do
7K
get
into
that
your lead.
Mr. 2 curve that we're
Okay.
looking for, go straight into 7K.
Now passenger.
Let's go 6 in the lead.
1K.
So we just go straight for
I'll say
6.
kid blocker.
1K out of that's fine.
That's
And he does
pretty
have
good.
this useless kid that ends up being
I really want to go ahead
around.
in this deck, but there's so many cards that I want to put in this
If
deck.
I recall correctly,
Yeah.
sticking around for a few turns.
Cards in hand?
Wait.
I think I'm debating how exactly I want to go about swinging into them. While I
I'm just saying
believe I end up
7,000.
establishing
Your
a
earlier.
queen in the
Copying.
process. So he did go 7,
Okay.
so he can give me 2 cards basically.
I'll block and give you 2K.
He does go straight for the block 1K.
I will spend another 7,000 into your
Okay.
leader.
Go for another 7. So he just give me 2 cards.
What I do.
Okay, I'll 2K, 1K.
And he does give me 2 cards.
And we'll use that 5
Like
down.
seeing a Sangoro come out of hand.
-1.
Then we do queen. -1, draw 2.
Mr. 2. Passenger.
Another scenario where queen is just better than Onami. Being able to play it on 7 down, first of all, but then also
-1
just the
down,
sticking
rest
power
me,
of it.
and then I'll refresh 1 down from kids.
For example, like this Sanji who
Go
plays,
5
he
into
does
combat.
rest it, but it's a 6K body, it's not a
And
2K
we'll
body, right?
go
That would just be
9 into me.
picked off pretty effectively.
It's pretty impressive.
It does go 8. I think he does just go into the queen.
Yeah, gotta though.
Yeah.
And I end up being okay with that, I think. Do I protect it? I think I don't because I want to hang on to the Sanji. And just kind of let him take that.
Yeah, that cards.
Past you, cut cards.
That card's no down.
Yep.
I'm at 8, activate leader effect.
Go to 9. I think we just get the new gate.
6,000 into leader.
Oh no, this game I don't remember. Yeah, we don't end up being on new gates. This ends up
Block
becoming
and
just a
give you
9-drop race. We play
That's 9.
a 9-cost
9 cost Luffy.
Luffy,
I'll play
get to draw a
-1.
card,
Draw.
and then we go
10 deal.
into
Yep.
yeah, basically taking turns playing
And then
9-drop
pass his turn.
Luffys
Yep.
and see who has the counter and wherewithal to get through it.
I'll go attach 1 to leader, 6 to life.
Now he's on 10, goes for a 6k swing in,
7
1k
life.
out,
Okay.
swings in 7, take a
How many cards
2k,
I give you?
Now I have
and he
6.
plays a 9-drop
Thank you.
for our call. With his
Alright.
useless kid, he does get
Press
to
9 for
keep
Luffy
open
mode,
a
-1. Gain
Don
restaurant
for
card.
Giant
Gain
too,
fresh
which
John.
becomes relevant.
10 to life.
Assuming he does have a Giant.
Take time. Filter.
I'll pass to you. I have 6
I
cards.
think one thing that's
6 cards.
definitely
Okay.
undernoted maybe
Go
is the
active.
fact that we search
Draw.
Giant and they
Put it
can't.
down.
Law
And say
cannot
goodbye.
search a Giant. I think I ended up catching someone. I mean, like I immediately say it's like I don't know, catching someone. I'm not saying they were trying to get one over on me, but they did try and pick a Giant off of Law, and that's not an option. So we have 6 cards, and I think yeah, it just ends up being swing, play through Giant, and see what happens. I think part of me, if I'm recalling correctly, I'm looking at this turn, I'm considering playing a 7-cost kid and being a little bit more defensive with it. But I just kind of decide that pressure's got to be the play here.
Go 6 into life.
10 to life.
Straight for a 6k.
Sanji 2K.
He does 2k out of that.
10.
Give him a
10 to
10.
life.
I think he blocks and Giants, maybe.
Block.
If he does elect
Gum
to
Giant.
block and then use Gum Gum Giant.
Discard Zoro. Go 2.
Let's give
And
me one more
I am also going to
counter
counter
after
additional 1K.
that. Would have been a 2k after that if it was just his leader,
Sure.
but got a law instead.
Press 9.
Then yeah, we just go straight
Secret
for
Luffy.
another
Yep.
9-cost.
Draw a card. And then 10 to leader.
I can't remember if I had a specific
I'll
reason for
activate leader effect.
leaving the second down open. I
Pass
don't
turn.
know if I had a Nami or I was just trying to play through 2 Giants if I needed to. It's maybe one of the cases where I'm just playing to all my outs, right? Even if I don't have both Giants in hand between life and
Let's go
drawing 2
6 into
cards, I
life.
might see it.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go 7 into life.
Yeah, it's up for a 1k. Nice
Let's go
2k
7
for Sanji. I think
9
we
on left.
Giant here. So I'm
So
kind of debating if taking it is
any cards you
valid
have,
or what options I
I
have.
have 6.
I should play like so. Giant. -2. Trashing. Gear 5.
Get
Draw
rid
2.
of a gear
Also
5.
need to trash one more.
I think at this point
1K.
I
That
had
will be
both gear 5s in hand, and it's kind of one of those things where like I
a
didn't really want to trash the gear 5 because I kind of said though I have the other one, but
yes.
I had a useless Captain Kidd, and I was gonna just gotta keep your options open, right?
Another Luffy. -1 Don. Draw card. And refresh 1 for Kid.
And he plays a second 9-cost Luffy.
Alright.
Get the Don back
I guess we'll
active.
go.
Swings 10k. I think he ends up going face again, or maybe he does go into
We'll go
my
10 at
10k
one
at this
Luffy's
point. He's
first.
getting a little defensive. If he did go into my 10k, I think it's kind of a little too late at that point.
Alright.
And yeah, he
Pass you.
did, so I
I have
just
6
gave it
cards.
a 1k. At this point, I think I just say drums of liberation. I think I go straight into a gear 5.
10 into life.
10 into life.
Sends a ton of pressure.
Ten into life.
Two
2
K, 2K, 1K, 1K.
Ks, 2 1s. At this
On
point,
6.
I
Okay, you have 2
basically
cards in hand
think
now?
just
Yep.
gear 5 locks it all the way up.
I think I feel the drums of liberation. Sun
If
God.
there's a giant,
It's done.
could get a little sticky,
Activate leader.
but I was feeling pretty
Activate
good about
gear
it
5
at
effect.
this point.
7,000 into your leader.
Either 2 cards
Go
or a
max return.
giant.
Draw.
Okay,
Down. Gear 5 effect. 10k leader.
10,
Easy.
and we get there.
Yeah, she had another one since you started one of
A
the.
very,
Yeah,
very
it's like one of those things where like, you
close
almost don't want to discard because it's kind of a dead tell that you have
yeah,
in hand, but it was the
massive
best card to discard.
3-0,
So I had to get it in hand. I thought about pitching just. I was like, I'm not going to play him anyways.
3
But
good showings overall.
yeah, I was
for
like,
us.
this is the
Pretty
most.
happy with that.
Makes sense.
2 die roll.
Alright. Yeah,
Then
that's fine.
And then
round
my
4,
Jolly Rogers are 6s. I
we
have
do
ones
go
just.
into
Okay. My
another
EX is
Doflamingo
ones and everything
matchup.
else is numbers.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of dice have that icon as one, so I have to make sure to point it out.
I had 2, so
I got 9.
EXs. Alright, EXs.
And you are Doflamingo. I will go first.
Okay.
Let me give us a couple
Sanji,
tosses
what
real
do you
quick. Split it into 3 piles.
I believe. Let's see here.
Put the one
that was the
close.
first one.
Yeah,
I
put the one
believe
closest to you up
I
on
won
top
the
of that
die
one.
roll went
Yeah,
first,
and then
I
that.
mulliganed
Is that's good?
a
Yeah, that's
hand
good.
that
I just got
For you,
to
just
somewhat
half.
random.
it's just
Yeah.
very low on
Yeah. For you, half
counter.
and then 7 to the bottom.
So,
That's my randomness.
yeah. 1, 2, 3,
think
4,
I even
5,
had
6,
ramp.
7.
I can't
Alright,
remember.
you said I'm second. Alright.
Yep, I'm going first.
But I think it was maybe I should have just kept the hand
I'll keep
and
this.
played it out because the hand I end up getting, I just don't end up developing
I'm gonna send this back.
kind of the threats or the
Okay.
curve that I need for a
There is, I
Doflamingo
think I'm supposed to be
game,
favored in this matchup, but it's also
quite frankly.
I don't have the most experience. The whole O9 thing is like today's like a practice day for me because I really, as well as I've known Dogs.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. All right, I'm done. Another 7. That is 5 cards. Gotta keep it
All right, draw.
So no searcher.
Tap 1 for Sengoku.
for sure.
Top 5.
He plays double Sengoku, I think. Yep.
Pass turn. Yeah.
Yes,
And
double check.
Apoku.
He does get a boa.
And then
What was the first one?
I'll grab the Weevil.
Weevil and a boa.
And I'll pass there.
So that's not looking the
your leader.
best for us.
Yep, take it.
Pass turn.
All right, draw.
I do just go straight 9. They take that. Then
Tap 1 for Perona.
let's see if they go.
Just got 5.
Perona,
Weevil.
3
Going
stack, and then
That's good play there.
Jinbei into
That's
Weevil.
7 into my leader.
Yes.
I will give you a 2k.
Sanji. Okay, go ahead.
Active. Draw. 2 down. We'll just go straight for 5. So yes, up. My leader becomes 7,000 until the start of my next turn.
Yes.
And also in 7,000. How many cards do you have in hand?
I
7.
think I send the 7 into.
I will go 7
You can
into
send
your
it into
Jinbei.
Weevil.
You got him.
Or Jinbei,
pass
or the rested
Alright,
character. And you just take that.
7k.
Yes, thank you.
And the 7k leader. I think it's gonna go straight into
Jinbei
a Jinbei Weevil or
I'll
Jinbei
go
boa, if I recall
Jinbei.
correctly.
Even better.
Boa.
Yep.
Top 3.
So like, it's one of those things where overall, I'm gonna admit to say,
That's rested.
kind of spoiler alert,
And
this is
I'll
one
go
that
7
we
at
end
life.
up
Tap 1.
losing.
I'll replace Perona
And
with Weevil.
To that end,
Sure.
a high roll
roll.
like this where we don't
Alright,
hit,
and your turn.
we also low roll against, quite frankly, the best deck in the format.
7.
Kind of have to accept that to some extent, right?
7 for Ben Beckman. Trash them both.
This isn't kind of the norm
6
for
grand
our
leader.
curve or the way the deck plays
I'll
out,
give you 2K.
as you'll see
6
through
grand
kind
leader.
of all of the other rounds. And even with that, we do get to kind of grind out with them quite a bit. But maybe, like I said, my original hand did have a useless Captain Kid and a new gate, so maybe I should have just kept that and played it out. But I just did not have the counter, and I just didn't want to completely flunk out and lose super early, which I guess maybe wasn't probably wouldn't have been as much of a problem. So in this game, he even gets an opportunity here to Red Rock my Beckman and just kind of take really the only threat I even get on. I only get like the fact that they had the opportunity to do that and like it was fine. This kind of shows how much we didn't really hit our top end in this game. And that is where I am toying with a third 9-cost Luffy now too. In the deck list for today, I did only have 2, but I do kind of just want that one more on curve massive power threat. Seems like just worthwhile, and it draws a card. So good. I don't think it was this turn that he ends up Red Rocking.
I'll go 6 into your Yasop.
I think he's pressuring the Yasop. I kind of said to let that go. Oh no, I think it is this turn.
I'll go 6 into your leader.
Yeah, he swings 4 6k swings and Red
7?
Rocks my.
7 Dawn left.
Like, if this was a kid even, right? The pressure just isn't the same. If I develop the Mr. 2 instead, right, then you get to swing it at once and that's fine. All right, hold it open.
Maybe one more.
Okay. So that's what, 2 cards left? And
yes, sir.
You're going how many Dawn? 9?
9.
Which is basically 10. Okay. I'll go 6 into your lead again,
I'll
I
take no trigger.
chewed through so much in
and then
my
I'll do 6 and
hand.
just red rock the Beckman,
Oh, okay. I was thinking the boa. The boa bounty plus to get for 6.
and then I'll pass.
It's like even if I just had Eustace Kid,
I had a whole
right,
different, I had a whole
instead
bunch of
of
scenarios in my head, I think, but I think that won through.
Oh yeah. And up to 9.
Beckman, the
And
pressure that they're able to, like the
yeah,
option to Red Rock, it costs them more, right?
that's something.
I do get to search. What did I search?
Activate lead.
I was kind of hoping to see a 9-cost Luffy there just to get some pressure going. That search, I think, or actually, yeah, I
5.
do remember that search. I
I think
had
Mitchell's correct. Yeah, 5.
1 Eustace Captain Kidd and 2 New Gates, and then I think a 2K.
10 into leader.
Leader, right?
Yep.
At this point, it's
Okay,
kind of
yeah, I
too
think
little,
that.
too late, in my opinion, to try and pressure
Pass
off
the turn.
their board.
All
Their
right,
entire
go.
deck is meant to refill that board
Cards in hand.
and
Up
pressure
to 4
us.
now.
Okay,
So I just don't think that's worthwhile.
interesting.
Now he just starts swinging in with 7.
Here's on.
Okay. 7 at lead.
Another
I'll
7.
take 7 lead.
Okay, that's back to 4, right?
Yep.
I'll go 9 at lead.
Okay.
That's 8 now.
Just 1 second.
Not looking good for us. I think what happened there with my Don too is I was considering playing Sanji and
Okay.
leaving open Giant, but then I accidentally rest attached 4 instead of 3.
All right.
So
how many
I
is that now in
was
hand?
no longer
Force
able to have
4.
both, and I just held on to the Sanji,
I'll go
which
8
I
at lead.
think may have been fine.
No leader.
No leader ability now.
Probably should have. No, I played the Nami that turn,
Interesting.
so I swung with the Nami, but no.
That's an option. So 8, I think the play is another giant.
I get to play another giant.
Okay.
2.
Get rid of Mr. 2.
All right, and then for 1, I'm
Play
just
up
placing Goku.
Hachi, draw on
Searching top
2.
5.
Activate lead. Drop 9.
Back up to 9.
Trash kit.
6.
Drop 2. Yeah, more that.
Onami. I think the Onami draws me into a
draw.
Yasop, so I do get to establish a blocker and a 7K swing, or 7K body.
Tap 2.
This is
Placing
like,
Goku
the
with feature.
flexibility of an Onami in this scenario is pretty good, but it was just kind of too little too late. And
go
the
7 at
amount
lead.
of things that I can answer an Onami
Okay.
is just so much higher than a Queen.
7 at lead.
That, and I was, no,
Okay.
at that time I did have the ability to don with the leader effect, so I probably drew the Queen off of
I'm
the
gonna do feature
Nami
ability.
and elected
Put
to
this right there.
play the
Actually, rest it
Yasop
here.
instead, if I recall
And then
correctly.
I'll swing 7 at lead. Leader ability into Law, replacing Jinbei. Bouncing back Sengoku, bouncing back your Nami.
And he just bounce the
7
Onami.
lead.
Yes.
And you have 3 down remaining.
4.
4. Gotcha. I will 2K out 7.
Okay. And then
Okay,
I'll go 9 lead.
that's 9.
I'll take. Sure.
And then 1 for Sengoku again. Searching top 5.
Goku.
I'll grab Mihawk.
He still has like 3 life or something like
And
that.
I'll
Like
pass
he
there.
just so much control over
I
me.
have 6 in hand.
Again, I had no New Gates, no 9-cost Luffy's, 1 Ben Beckman. And they hit the 4-6 drops, right? Like I don't know. Kind of, I think or 6Ks rather, not 6 drops, 6Ks. Even I mean, I guess if these Onamis that I did end up playing, one of them was like a Beckman. Maybe that would have been a little bit better last turn.
Okay, too.
But then I wouldn't have had a 7K leader, and that pressure comes down even harder. So it's hard to say.
5 for Queen. Next one. Trashing.
We do play Queen as well.
Gold Roger.
Okay.
Trying to just hold
6
up
in
the
the
best I can,
I'll take that one.
but it's just
Activate leader
not
effect.
enough.
Use one for Nami.
I am obviously aware of thinking of Perfume Femur, and I don't have a
Okay.
Gum Giant, so
Okay.
I kind of gotta try and find one. I do find one, but
Uh,
big Perfume
Next
Femur
turn.
this next
Okay,
turn
draw.
does just do what it do.
Cards in hand.
4.
Does do it even, max properly to put it on the Weevil
Yeah,
and
I'm just gonna
then
tip 2
use
for
the
Femur
Teach effect
on Weevil.
to
I don't
then
think it
put
matters
the
what.
Don on, so it's
Then I'm gonna
18k
use Teach ability.
unblockable at this point.
Place that there.
So
So I
again,
can rest it to Weevil.
um,
And then swing all with
kind of gotta
Decklist.
take those.
Also, just to be clear, like, you have the other Weevil cap
And
with the
that's
Don on,
kind of
is
why
that
I
you
kind
put
of
that
was
on the other one?
match this game
Yeah, I mean
and
it
some
should
of
be
the
fine. I
later
don't think it really matters,
matchups
but
that you will see.
that's
I
he's
do
8K for Perfume
feel
Femur, and then that's
I cut the Onamis and went
9,
into
10,
another
11,
having
12,
more
13,
2Ks
14,
and
15, 16,
a
17. I'm at 18.
additional
I
top
think
end.
you're right. I don't think it matters, but let's find out together.
Just to
We're
have
gonna
one
try
more 9-cost
Gum
Luffy
Giant.
for
10.
the
Yeah, I
consistency.
don't think even these are 2Ks. It works.
Which would have been great.
12,
Obviously, even just to
14,
develop something in
15,
this match.
16.
But
Almost.
yeah,
Yeah.
Almost.
GG.
I
not quite
love,
enough
but
to get out
if I didn't have the
18k.
Teach on
Quite
the
a
board, I
bit,
probably
but
wouldn't
not
have went for that
enough
play
to
because
get
I
out
know that.
18k there. I think it was, let's see, actually, it was a Gum Gum Giant to 10, 14, 15,
15, 16.
16.
Almost.
So I could have got out of 15k, which is pretty good. But not 18k. So yeah, awesome. Come now we're 3-1 going into almost the back half of the day, right? We're almost halfway through the day. Excellent. We're back with round 5. Trying to finish this up Christmas morning action.
All right, cool.
Jump right into it.
That's 10.
We did get a
6.
Shanks.
I'm just gonna go first.
So round 5
Yeah,
was
split it 3 pies.
into our
Yep.
matchup again.
And then put the middle one to the right side. But
Let's see here.
Depends how like I want
doing one to the bottom, I guess. Good.
Both mulligans.
I will also pass.
And
Draw
you went
down.
first.
9K
Turn
leader.
1 Nami.
You
So I
got
did
it.
notice that the audio
Check.
for these games are playing,
Check.
which is awesome,
And
I
pass.
guess. But they're not playing through my headset, so I know a little bit of my audio is going to clash with the audio of the gameplay a little
Let's go.
bit, but I'm glad it's not completely silent for y'all as
You can
well.
see like one open. 8. I will. Let's go. Yeah, I'll take it.
Take
Active, draw.
it.
Down. 1 down active, so I should be fine with this.
No ramp on turn 2.
Mr. 2.
Yes, sir.
Active
We
down.
do get turn 3
Yes,
ramp.
sir.
8,000 into leader.
Take it here.
How many cards you got in hand now?
I have 9.
It's a lot of cards. I'll pass the turn.
Yeah. How many do you
I
I have
have
7.
2, 3 life already, which is alright, I guess.
have? I'll play yes above my leader.
Mhm.
And then let's just go 7 to lead.
Yeah,
7
so
into
making the leader a 6k.
I will 2K.
So at 9, did you?
Yep. Go active, 2 down. You're a 6K leader. I'll activate my leader. Get 1 more down.
Yeah.
Still, we're looking at that. Should be fine. Or we're going to 8 down next turn. So those options are.
I do believe we end up having a threat.
That exactly would be a little
here.
unfortunate.
Well, I guess it doesn't end up being the 9
That's
draw.
not bad, I guess.
Okay, we do
Make
have
my
it.
leader an 8K.
Mhm.
Swing an 8K.
A leader effect to get.
Yep. I'll pass with an 8,000 leader.
Leader effect and then
5 hand.
2k.
Okay.
We do hold the Mr. 2, looking to get a little additional value out of it.
I'll play negate. Don't I guess up.
They do play
I got 8 to
the
leader.
That checks out.
-1 to negate for
7
fun.
cost
For funsies. 1K.
Newgate,
And then I'll
which
try to get a
does
pop on one.
basically
out.
immediately get
Good.
to remove that Mr. 2, which is fine.
Active, draw. Down. Okay.
So one thing I do kind of want to
Seems
do with the, I
makes
mean,
sense.
I did it with, the
Yes.
Blackbeard guide and Shanks.
I think so.
I think kind of ends up coming up throughout this tournament is there is a couple different configurations for their list that
Yeah, 8 cards again
can
now,
be
9 cards still?
ran. Some are running
8
like
now.
the
Yeah.
Red Hawks, the Radical Beams, and things like that. I think I think the other ones that don't run those are on a more controlling list with the new gates, or maybe there's lists that have those counters as well as the 7 cost new gates and aces, but and 5 cost aces, but I'm not exactly sure. But that difference is definitely hyper relevant, right? Going into the later stages of the game,
Sorry, don't mind my
considering what
normal
triggers
order.
could be at play and what
10 into your
they might be
Leader?
doing.
Yep.
Not sure.
7. You seconded.
Yeah.
-1 down. 7,000 leader.
Yep.
10,000 into
You
your
have an opportunity
Okay, check.
to Get a Eustace Captain Kid.
Put your cards in hand for you. I will activate the effect, and I'll pass the turn.
Draw.
Take out
Get 3
the
cards.
one. I think at this point he has like 9 cards in hand though. So he, is lower on health, but definitely not out of it
I'll
yet.
go 60.
No comment.
Oh, you're 7. Right. Sounds good.
Quite low on cards at this point. He does swing in the 6K by mistake. So kind of get away with the counter there, which is kind of nice.
I'm gonna run away and turn my thermostat down, but I have a headset in, so I'll hear what he said.
I don't know, I ended up having to step away for just a moment here. I don't remember what it was.
Alright,
I'm gonna go 70 lead.
yeah, that checks out.
All right.
That leaves you with 8 left over.
That was a big
I'll take that.
2K
Not sure.
here. Or no, it
gonna
was
play
7
regular, drop
leads,
two
so
trash
it's a 1.
Oh, yeah.
He does regular.
Try to send out Shanks. And then for 1, I'll play Building Snake minus Eustace Kid by 2K.
Yeah, the building
And then I'll tap
snake,
White
so
Beard
does
Papa.
get to remove the kid
And then I'll
too.
pass.
The last
Yeah,
turn,
that's-
that's actually, I do remember, that's what I was debating. I was thinking about playing a Eustace Captain Kid last turn. But on
That's exactly what I was afraid of last
one
turn. Why I played
wanted
Newgate
to
instead of
building
Kid.
snake into
We'll go active.
Newgate
We'll
removal
draw.
immediately.
Got 10 down.
So that's why I
Alright.
didn't.
What game actions are we feeling like here? Either way, this kind of just seems like best. 5. Make my leader 7K. Swing in 7K.
7K leader.
2 leader.
Yeah. And then I'll use a red hot for that.
Then 10K leader.
I'll put 7, so remember you're 7K. And then I'll block.
And then I will play
They get blocked with a
5 for a
regular.
queen. -1 down.
And then we do queen.
Draw 2.
Love having
Trashing
the
one
one
card.
queen at the same time. Feels quite good.
Hmm.
It's kind of an interesting scenario when they have one of these uses or one of these new gates on board because
Trashing a Yasa.
obviously they have a lot of
And then I'll activate
removal,
my effect.
repetitive removal control, and you don't want to just run things
And
out to it. But at the
actually,
same time, the
we
fact
are
that
going
they have
to
to
pass.
invest resources. Actually, in this case, they just have
And
to
with
do the
that,
Yasop swing.
so much.
But
Yeah.
still
7K
takes
leader.
an
Pass the turn.
8K swinger
Where's that?
to do it,
5.
right? So
Okay.
if I don't give him something to remove, then that's probably just going to be a swing into me that requires at least 2 cards by default, or at least a 2K at this exact moment. So that is also why I kind of prioritize continuing to establish the blockers, even though
I'm gonna play really
they
good.
are
Let's go
quite
minus
likely to
3
get
queen, minus 2
removed.
gets off, pop queen.
Sounds good.
And then 8 leader.
8 leader. I will give you a 2K.
And then I will pass.
Pops the blocker, then swings
Yasop is a
in,
4K.
and does
Okay,
leave
turn.
Yasop as a 4K. So it is
feel
vulnerable to a Red Hawk,
Because
and
we
I
got like
kind of have to
7 cards in
decide
hand
if
at
I'm
least.
just fine with that Red Hawk
I have a 9.
or not.
2 since 4K.
Mapping out how aggressive I can really afford to go, and how I want to not die.
6 left.
I'm
We can start with a 6. Kind of probably says that we're not continuing the Newgate and power increasing chain.
gonna take it out.
He does Otama right out of that.
Sorry.
Sure. 10K left.
And
Okay. Here's my leader pick to make 9.
if I recall correctly, leader
I'm gonna
effects,
red hot
Red
to pop this
Hawk,
up,
KO
and then
my
go to 9,
Yasop,
and then I need one more,
one
so I will go back in.
Sounds good.
It still has a
That was
good
all do
number
what
of
you said.
cards. We're gonna get a grindy matchups.
This is just supposed to be easier than this.
Blocker
Um,
sounds kind of nice, but hard to commit the
Yeah,
slots
I just
to
played
when
big bombs,
there's
then
so
purple.
many
They're just like,
great
oh,
things to
yeah, playing
play
big bombs,
down
like, what do
to.
you do?
this just makes the most sense. 5 for a queen.
Establish another
Talking down.
queen.
Yeah.
1, 2. Trashing Sanji. Then
Sanji Rusher.
activate leader effect.
Mhm.
Oh goodness. What are you thinking? that? That's jeez.
I may have been debating like an Onami or a second queen here.
Onami?
Mhm.
Trash Luffy? Draw two.
This is where
And
I'm kind of wondering, as this game kind of wraps out grinds out the next couple turns, is if this turn would have been just better sorted a bit more aggressively, either committing more Don to my Luffy or taking the opportunity to swing with the Yasop, or like either just playing queen and putting more down on the Yasop and my leader, or playing that 9-cost Luffy instead of either of the blockers. I think the blocker was probably still right, at least queen was. But I do kind of think that here, angling a little bit more aggressively and getting more cards out of my opponent's hand on this turn would have offered quite a bit of value. But maybe I kind of got a little passive or a little too.
that's a turn.
What's that?
I'll pass a turn. Yep.
Oh, sorry, cards in that.
Oh, sorry, 5.
Okay, drop. 5 cards in hand. I'll go 8 leader.
Blocker for the AK though, kind of nice.
Let's go 8 minus queen.
Nice
Now he goes
queen.
for another AK going -1 on the queen. I think I block.
Hmm.
Because if
So you have
not,
8
he's
down
going
remaining.
to KO it with
Yes,
Nugate,
sir.
or maybe I make him KO it with a Nugate. In this case, I can't remember exactly.
Minus queen. 8 down remaining.
So I'm glad that the audio for my gameplay is going to play for you guys. I'm not glad that I can't hear it though, personally. Fire for a cough there.
I will take that 8.
I'll take that because I know that there's not a Roger coming on that exact turn.
I'll play
And
Silver's
again,
early
if
for the
he
draw 2 trash
rests
one.
the Nugate,
I'll trash send out Shanks.
then it's basically like
I'll tap Nugate's block queen.
queen head blocked anyways, which is what he
And then I go 6
does.
6 lead, all 1K.
And then he does
No bets.
a 6K.
Active. Draw card.
2 down open for
How
events
many cards do you have
again.
again?
I have 7 mana.
A bajillion cards in hand,
Gosh.
a blocker. It's looking pretty rough. I believe I'd make an attempt for lethal at this point because I know there's not really much else I can really do from a defensive play. Roger probably just blows me out even further. So I'm kind of I think I'm kind of in town at this point.
So
I think they have too many cards in hand, and I'm kind of realizing this game's getting grinded out.
oh my gosh. Gosh.
I ended up thinking, because I know this is basically the last turn or two, how do I want to go about this?
Keep that. Roger, I guess. Yeah. Let's see what you got.
I just
6.
ended up electing to Roger.
TK.
I kind of
Yeah,
know
he's
that
under confident. 10.
this is about
Yeah,
cooked.
and then leader blade to 9.
Yeah.
And then 0 drop TK.
Oh, okay. 0 drop. Not even that.
2K,
13.
3 cost counter,
13 leader.
or
Yep.
0 cost counter and a
That's right.
2K,
I'll pass the turn.
and then just take the
Drop.
Roger. And I think
And then I'll go 18
he
leader.
shows me his
Yep.
hand
GG.
afterwards too, and
GG's.
he
Yeah.
just has
I had like
a bajillion counter.
this is my hand, so I had a decent amount more counter.
Like he
Oh,
has
yeah,
another,
3K counter in there too. Yeah, I had 2 giants I could have tried to play for, but I figured you had a
4K
Roger.
after that as well.
And
Yeah, but
so,
yeah, I do have a Roger, and also I would have also just played for another turn.
yeah, exactly.
yeah, this kind of
Yeah, I'll just
grinds
block
me
your.
out.
Any some
Like I
first,
said,
let's block right away.
I think this
and
is
then,
where
yeah.
you
So
know,
such.
developing the 2 blockers and having a ton of counter.
Yeah, usually the scared of the
you know,
like an IWP and stuff,
is
but
a
didn't see any
very
stuff.
strong
Yeah, I guess it's like the turn that I double blockered,
but
I
that's
maybe
kind
could
of
have
where
just
I
pushed
wonder
Luffy.
if I had
But I didn't
just
have any
been
giants
a
in
little
hand,
bit
so like
more
I would have
aggressive
passed a
earlier,
4 card hand with like
or
3
kind
or
of
4K counter in
waited
hand.
those Onami
I'm just
I
like,
agree for game.
right, like,
just
I guess if I
having
did that,
well
then I think you start swinging those 8s in.
to be able to
And
push
Yeah,
for a
definitely.
lethal
math is
turn.
math if I don't have giants, which I didn't. So
Yeah.
yeah, because you had
Usually
two.
draw
Yeah,
WP,
so
running
now
hand
we're
and outside.
3
You're
and
right.
2.
Super gamble.
A little
Yeah, I was like, well, I can
frustrated
try and
with the
play a
start
little
of the
longer game.
going
Yeah.
into this, but we know we
Yeah,
still
GG's, man.
can finish
GG.
strong in the top
2 die high
64,
roll good.
so we grind
Yeah,
it
works for
out here. Here, I think we do get another purple Luffy.
And my the Jolly Rogers are 6s. There's 1s. So a lot of time those are 1s. That's a 7.
I got 10.
Who goes
I'll
first?
go first.
Sounds good. How would you like me to cut?
You have and then 3 to the bottom.
On top of the one to the
I
right.
believe they elect to go first.
Lead us off.
Yep,
I know
go 1
going
for law.
second against a lot of purple Luffys today.
I'll take Sanji.
He goes law right into
I'll pass.
Sanji.
Draw.
Sorry, my camera's blurry.
Yeah, so it just went out of focus. I'm sure it'll refine itself in a second.
Yeah.
Focus on have to be a little bit of fun.
I draw and pass.
We get it fixed there in a second.
If it doesn't fix itself, I turn it off now really quick. It will refocus automatically. I don't want to have to do that.
Right, yeah.
Come on.
So maybe like try and like pick up your leader card and like, put it in the center of the camera so you're kind of relaxing it
Yeah,
off.
focusing.
Oh, there's something.
Oh, yeah, cool.
There we
Good
go.
call. That worked.
Nice.
Yep. Okay, I have not drawn for turn.
Something that was interesting
You
for
went
purple
first and played a
Luffy,
law. I forget what you even searched off the
kinda
law.
coming into
I
the
searched Sanji.
tournament,
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
was a
So then
little
you should
bit
have
concerned
6 in
with them
hand
overall.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Okay.
they have a great showing against them in total.
I will go cancel
One thing
I'll just
that
ramp.
Heart Pirates started messing with the deck
Tap
a little
4
bit, and he
for
pointed
Zoro.
out that like
5.
Reiju is really nuts against purple Luffy, because they just do that guaranteed ramp on turn 2,
Take Nami.
and then we can
And I'll
draw
pass.
2 with Reiju
Active,
and then
draw a card,
ramp
put it
ourselves,
down.
which is pretty insane.
Yeah, so we just go Mr. 2, get an active, 7,000 into your leader.
Here we do
I'll
ramp
take
and go right into 7K.
And I'll pass with 6.
Kind of thinking that they're gonna Sanji swing into it, but we'll see.
I'll go 6 life.
We will give you a Onam.
Okay,
Go 7 life.
So right now you have 3 active now. Or 4. 4. You could lead effect if you wanted to. 7 at lead. That one is interesting. How do I feel about that one?
Yeah, looking for a 7
I'll take it.
drop here,
Better?
so that's probably the reason I
I'll
took
tap
it.
4 for next Zoro.
Yeah.
I'll take Gum Gum.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll
Giant.
pass.
Zoro
Active,
can find Giant.
down.
Law can.
What do we want to do here?
Now we are up to 7 down. They've developed a couple 6Ks. Overall, their turn 3 being another Zoro
swing in,
is
6 into
pretty
leader.
good for us.
Oh, you take it.
And I do take this
6 into
opportunity to
leader.
swing in with the
You take it.
Mr. 2 because I do
Card
know
hand.
that he has the Sanji,
gives me
so I'll
7.
have that
Alright.
option
And I will
regardless.
Ben Beckman trash the active
Then I
Zoro.
do just
So,
Beckman trash
yeah,
into the
pass.
6Ks. It's a little tempo.
I'll draw. Let's see what I have to do. I'll go 2 into Bon Clay.
Now
go 6 to
swinging
life.
Mr. 2 makes sense. 6 in the life.
6 to life. We'll give you 1.
Get that card out.
I'll go another 6 to life.
6
Sure.
in the life.
Better.
We do take
I'll
that
tap
one.
7 for Luffy. Luffy effect.
Now
-1.
Luffy Taro.
I'll play out Zoro.
And play out, I think there's
5.
another Zoro, yep. And this is where, like, them
That's a hard
playing
choice.
their Luffy Taros and Zoro Juros are not that concerning for us. Where it gets frustrating, like, if they played Sangoro into Luffy Taro Sangoro here,
Taking
I
Luffy.
would be looking at not feeling great.
And I'll
Like,
pass.
repetitive card
Go
advantage every single turn
No, I found.
becomes very effective at grinding us
2 down.
out and makes
Activate the
combat
effect.
harder for us as
Up to 10.
well.
Let's see here. What a
But I guess
day.
if it wasn't off the Luffy Taro, I would have
7,
trashed the
Beckman into your
Sangoro with Beckman, which is nice.
9
7K
for
to
Nuke.
next.
And
I
there's
sit
8K
down
until
to
the start
2
of my next turn.
cards, make my
8,000
leader
into your leader.
8,000, and swing in 8,000.
And I will pass the turn.
So this is another one of the things where, like, Newgate here is so, like, miles
8 to
better
Beckman.
than
Yep.
Shanks. Like, this isn't a question. So much better. And I don't understand why. Like, I do think 10 cost Shanks is good, and
I
I
had
think there's a
6.
place for it potentially in the deck. But there's no world where it's the best card in the deck or the best top end threat in the deck.
Tell me you're really bricked
I'll
up right
stand
now.
on
But,
that.
not worth it.
If I played a Shanks this turn, they just know exactly how they can pressure me and rip my hand to shreds. Without it, they have to think so much harder. A Newgate with a Don open, so powerful.
I'll go 9 Taylor.
Okay.
I'll tap 5.
Even so, right? He's still trying to push for
And I'll pass
2Ks.
You got it. We are active, and we draw.
Had I not had the threat of a giant up, very easily could have gone for 10
cards do you have?
swings. And
5, 1, 2, 3, 4,
pressured
5, 6, 7,
mentally.
8, 9.
Slot cards. Is there? That's kind of
Can't remember if I particularly have another
10K into leader?
leader in this game or where I go from here. I'm kind of trying to play around their blocker and also Gum Gum
Got one for
Giant,
Giant.
right?
Die -2. Trashing
Which
Luffy.
in this case I do
Draw
know
2.
they have at least one.
And then give that to my leader. So that's 9.
Yep.
And you do 2K. Hello.
For sure. You good?
Oh,
Thank you, leader.
you have
I'll start
no
next turn, and I'll swing 1,000 into your leader. And I will pass my turn.
And an 8. I do kind of like that 10 going in before the 8 because 10 like 8 is very easily Gum Gum Gianted.
5.
If they weren't gonna, or if they were going to
Go
Gum
10
Gum
life.
Giant, it would have been
10.
easier for them.
10 is a
Now they put back in with
so
10.
then you have 8 down remaining after
And
that.
we
Wait,
can
no.
pretty
7.
easily
7 down.
go
I got 1.
for
Yeah.
a 2
Okay.
and a 1.
I
Or
will giant that.
which I kind of think
New gate
yeah,
goes away.
giant.
-2.
Maybe it's
Draw
not
2.
interesting enough.
And
There's a case
my
where I
leader is
had an opportunity
okay.
to go for a 2 and a 1. I think it was pretty ineffective or like not what I should have done at that moment. But that's fine. And
Forgot you can
I
play
don't
Giant.
think that was this
Let's
case.
see.
You're not the first
Just
person to say
cycle
that
out
I
the
played on.
third. I think this game I had at one point 3 new gates, a Roger in my hand, so it could have been a little sticky. But we did end up getting the opportunity to kind of declunk
But can you read New Gates into
going
Is
into
Don
the
times 1 you need on
end
him?
of the
Or is it
game.
just...
It's Don times 2 and it KOs a 3K or less.
Yeah.
Oh, not me, for example.
Yeah. But you need the Don for it.
That is true.
Oh, stuff.
I think we're kind of thinking hard because it's basically the
this.
end of the game.
I think if I didn't take that hit, I could have gone 10-10. It's
Oh
gone for it. So for the
yeah,
best, but I think it's not another option.
I think this is the
I'll
game
go
where
5
they
for kid.
elect to or attempt to, play around gear 5.
And then I'll go
And they
2
play
for
out
Robin.
3 blockers.
And I'll pass.
They have a kid. They play a second kid. Play a Nico Robin blocker. 3 blockers.
Card in hand now.
1, 2,
Trying to
3, 4,
prevent
5,
gear
6, 7,
5
8.
win, which probably would have realistically. Or very close to it. And really, he just needs to counter out of a 7K and a 10K. He can block 2 10Ks and a 12K. But in this case, we do just Roger.
Yep, you got it. Good game.
GG. Yeah, GG.
So that's not real life either. That's just any red deck can play that.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I haven't played a Red Purple Luffy, so that threw me off.
Yeah, that's I think it's still just a very underrated deck. I made my whole YouTube channel about it.
In my head, I'm playing around.
He
Yeah.
didn't have
I'm nervous because at one point I had 3 in hand, like 9 6 cards. I had like 2 2Ks, a Gum
it's kind of
Giant, and 3 new gates. And I was like, okay, this could get a little sticky. And then
Yeah,
I
so when I
enough
saw
to
+170
get out
took it,
of
I really thought I was going to be able to push for game there pretty
playing
soon.
around gear 5.
10-10, but that's a
crazy pain in the ass.
All right, so now we are 4 and 2, going into.
true. Yeah, but that was not my bingo card, but I run there.
That works.
Split it into 3 piles. And then
even piles.
yeah,
basically.
basically. Yeah. Then put that middle one on top of it.
And I think
The confidence in your voice
yet
maybe not feels so great
again,
about it.
they won the die roll
Awesome.
and
I just wanna get
elected
started.
first.
Oh yeah, that's 1, 4.
Yep.
Total got my top deck. Ooh, those are cards.
Those are cards, yeah.
Going first.
So remembering this early game, I think I had like everything as an option in this search. I was like debating between like a 9-cost Luffy, a 10-cost Luffy, and a Gum Gum Giant, and I think there was a 2K as well.
We got a 7-cost Sanji.
No, I picked the Sanji.
And I will
So again,
pass
just keep prioritizing that Sanji to be
I'll
able
use
to
leader
answer
ability.
Mr. 2 has been
I will do
highly
top 4
rewarding.
for the Zoro.
Okay.
Look at top 5.
Or other things, right? You can answer, can push through blockers, Nico Robin blockers,
I'll grab a
etc.
Sachi. And I pass you.
I do. Draw.
So Hachi all set, sir?
So we just go 4, 4,
I think I do
Mr.
ramp.
2, active down,
Yep.
7 to your leader.
You go straight 7.
And I'll pass my turn.
Same broke, don't fix it, right?
Draw.
Same play pattern.
Leader ability. Card in hand.
I'm at 6.
You said 6.
Yes, sir.
Cool, thank you.
Relatively speaking, going second in the purple
Let's go
Luffy
6 lead.
as
You have 7
bad as
down
it
active,
could be
correct?
I have
because
7 down active, correct.
Zoro
Okay.
Jiro can still
I will give you a 1K.
cycle
Gotcha.
through and
Go
really has
7
no
lead.
risk of being removed in that matchup, which is quite nice.
I'll give you 2K.
Cool. And I'll tap 5 for the use of kid, and I
I
pass
guess
you.
technically
Active.
going
Draw.
second,
Down.
if they like double lead
What
effect
are
turn
we
3
doing?
Sanji, they could answer our Zoro Jiro, but I haven't seen that happen yet.
How many
I
cards do you
have
have?
seen
Like
the
7?
Sanjis
I currently have
used
9.
to
And you have
remove
6,
my
right?
Mr.
Yeah.
G's, just like I do.
No, I have 5. I kind of
5, okay. Thank you.
But yeah. I think I'm debating what 7 drop I want to play through here.
I think that's 7. Ben Beckman to trash the useless captain.
Yeah, Beckman just
Swing 6K with my
trashing
leader.
the kid
Yeah,
blockers.
I will give
Pretty
you
nice.
a. How much? You're at 8 down, 7 down.
7 down.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll give you
Establishing
a
quite a
2K
bit
Sanji.
of control early.
And if you're doing
And again, I do know
I'll pass
he
the turn.
has the 7 cost Sanji in his hand, so I'm debating
Draw.
going it there.
4 hand, right?
Maybe
Yes, sir.
my thought process is if they Sanji, then they're not doing something else.
Let's tap 7 for Sanji. I'll don -1 to Rush and rest the
Yeah, they
Mr.
did
2
just
Conquer Day.
Sanji. I probably should have swung in for 6.
I'll do 5 to Mr. 2.
Yep.
Maybe they would have done something else had I not, so
Let's tap
who knows.
1 for Joe Law. Look at the top 4.
Law Searcher.
Get a Gum Bank.
You can search
Yeah,
China.
sorry, I
Oh,
tried
you're
to
right,
say
sorry about
Gum
that.
Giant, I'm like, not that one. And then it's a lift.
I'll bond like that.
So
Eight,
this is why Purple Luffy's better,
4.
because we get to play Nami, and we can search Gum
Let's
Giant.
go 7 to lead.
7 to lead. I will take 7 to lead. Sure.
Gotcha. And I'll go another 7 to lead.
I'll take 7 to lead. For sure.
Cool. I passed you.
Active. Draw. Down. Activate my leader. Go up to 10. Let's see what we're working with here. That seems like it might be fine. 7 to leader.
The leader, yeah. Give you a 2K and a 1K.
I'm still learning all this stuff. I really don't.
The 2K was option, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Not play now.
Not playing
New game. My leader comes 8,000 until the start of my next turn.
everything,
I'll
but
see 8,000 to your leader.
it's Chris this morning. I don't have time to figure out all this
Okay.
morning and try and edit it.
And I will pass my turn with 8,000 leader.
Hopefully, I don't clash too much with them.
How many cards?
1 down,
I
6
try to
cards.
speak a little bit
1
more
down, 6 cards.
on top of it.
Or
So,
8. Let's do
maybe next time I'll
7 to
just
the Beckman.
mute it and make sure that I can hear it.
Just a proposition. Yeah, that's fine.
I do allow them to just swing into the Zoro, into the Beckman rather.
Let's tap 9 for the Lemon. I will don -1, and I will trash a Zoro from hand.
But
I will heal life,
get a life
and I will
back.
not do the second part of the effect.
Sounds good.
And then I will pass to you.
At this point,
How many cards in hand for you now?
starting to
5.
feel
And you have 7
little-
currently?
I'm now up to 7, correct.
Thank you.
Would they go up that life?
Okay.
I do have a good hand size, which is really good at this stage of the
We will
game,
start with
especially in this matchup.
7 for useless captain
We
kit.
do end up
Minus 1 to make my leader
kid,
7,000
going
until the start of my next turn.
leader. And then,
Activate leader effect.
and then from there, we do just keep pushing face. Pressure on, make them have it.
That's okay. Okay.
I want to say I do something like maybe 10-10.
10K into your
You're
leader.
gonna Gum Giant. I
Wait.
also want a 2K from you.
New gate's at 10K, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take some. That's great.
That 10K is coming in. To
One,
leader.
sends
Delete.
in another
Okay.
10.
That's great.
He takes
And I
that
will
one
pass
as
the turn.
well.
7K leader.
So probably doesn't have
Can you
a
confirm the number of
giant,
cards in your hand
and
again, please?
kind of
I have
thinks
6.
that he'd use it,
Yes, no,
right?
okay.
But also don't
Let's
want to
go
get baited into
7
going
please.
all in next turn either.
Zoro for 1K.
Easy 1K on the 7K swing.
And let's do a 9 to lead, please.
Only because you said
This may have been where I had 2 and 1.
we will go
afterwards wasn't the
9 into my 7. We'll go 2 and a 1.
And 1, thank you.
I think he is
4 cards in hand, right? Or you have 2?
I am at 3 cards, 1 life, and a 7K leader.
debating another 9 cost Linlin. I think I may have been trying to play through a Roger here, or kind of thinking I should have taken it for Roger's sake. But if he just puts 10 down on leader,
Let's
that's
tap 9 for another
option,
Lemon.
so
I will don -1, and I will trash
I think
a
that's
9 cost
relevant
Luffy
enough.
to heal life.
Mm.
And I would not do the second part of the effect, and I pass to you.
Cards in hand.
I currently have 6.
6. Active, draw. Okay.
Now it's a game state where
This is Zoro still in the right there at the 4 cross.
Yeah, that's
he doesn't
Thought so,
have
just
to
wanna
make
make
sure-
there.
No, you're good. As long as I'm not forgetting about blocker.
Drawn it out pretty effectively.
Let's see here.
No blockers.
10k leader.
Delete. I will do Open Giants.
Mhm.
On -2.
And
I will trash a Mr. 2 Bonk and I will not do.
cycle out.
And delete.
And then
And I will give you 2 1Ks, both Sangoros.
Interesting. Okay.
2-1.
Cards in hand
We're
now.
kind of thinking that's
Oh,
probably relatively indicative.
If it's
Be
that,
down to
then
4 cards in hand.
how do we do this the most
And
correct?
no more Don. So I think it ends up just being
If you somehow bluff me, those are
Roger
all 2
here ends
Ks.
up being
With the
just
2
a rush
Sangoros.
threat, even though
That'd be
he
pretty
doesn't have
respectable.
blockers. In this case, then obviously
we
Gear
are
5
going
would
to-
have won as
I
well.
think this is right. I think just one more second.
And
Slow down.
15K
4 cards in
rush in
hand.
this case.
If I were to go
Let's see what
otherwise,
I'm
if I go
trying.
that.
Double and triple checking that I don't get blown out here. And technically,
I think that's
I
it.
could because it's going to be 8K, 8K, 13K.
8k into your leader, -1. My leader is 7k.
But if he has two 2Ks, but the fact that he gave it 2 1s,
activate leader, 14K
I
Roger.
don't have 2Ks.
Yeah, you got it.
GG.
I go
and
back
he
to 2
doesn't.
Luffy
Yeah,
Taros.
that's brutal.
Luffy
man,
Taro
yeah.
being apparently a couple of the cards he drew.
Ooh, well played, man.
Yeah, absolutely too. We'll go ahead and report.
So now we are
Was going first,
6 and 2.
No, I think we both want to go first for sure.
Luffy's.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we both just want to have the
really
initiative.
starting
Play
to
9
feel
drops first.
great, going into the back end of
Because
the
like my
day.
second curve is sorry, go ahead.
Roll right
I was my second curve is solid with my curve list, but not as good as my going first curve. Oh yeah, Gear 5 for sure.
I'm cool. Yeah, I'm here. I was for mobile. Well, not for mobile, I guess for One Piece.
Oh, I like what I see.
Not a user. Not a
Round
user
8
stuff.
was
5 and 2 with
Blue,
Zoro and Sanji.
Green,
How's the day been? I'd love to hear.
Zoro and
So,
Sanji. Definitely
faced,
did not
two
expect to
Dofis,
come across this at the
one
6
black
and 2
smoker,
tables.
I'm sorry,
He
3
said he's
Dofis,
beating up
one
on
black
some
smoker, one
Dofis
and
and
out.
some other
Oh, yeah, and
decks. But yeah,
Nami triggers.
definitely did not
Yeah,
I've
I'll
been taking it in
foresee
the
this
chat,
coming.
let me see if my
As a round 8
I'll
matchup,
have to ask what the slice is like after the game. I'm assuming a little bit of Warlord's going on
quite
for you.
honestly.
Yeah, Red Hot.
Oh yeah, it's a snipe one of your 5Ks
Was
Yeah,
yeah.
how do you want that?
To your left.
Yep.
Yep. And then put both of the no, yeah, right there. Yep, right there. And then put the on top. All that on top of the other one. Yep.
What's up? Okay. Anything else?
No, good.
Okay.
Cut.
For you, we'll just
I low roll free first. So 8 is for you. All my matchups, and this is not one of them. Here, but no, this is.
yeah.
I think
Yeah, I used to see a lot of RP Luffy
first
instead
from them.
is it no Suzuki came on or it's 6?
Yeah, he was good.
Pretty good.
I don't know if I should keep this. Kind of weird. I'm gonna have to keep it.
And we're on kind of
Return.
a Warlords package with some
Down
legal
to-
stuff too, which is pretty awesome.
Active, draw, down. 6,000 into your leader.
I'll take the trigger.
And I will rest 3 for Zoro Juro.
Cool. Drop return.
3 for
Down
Zoro Juro.
Go ahead and you could go for that play. I don't want to be greedy. Go factor leader.
No counter.
No, I'm just checking you. Go for it.
Yeah, I have to talk about that blunder on my YouTube channel. I can't let that happen.
Maybe play out
Yeah.
Weevil or
Gotta do it.
Jinbei.
A little Jinbei action.
I think he does.
Ooh, he's got options. I like that. That's the one that is Don X1. Look at the top 3 and reset them. Or is it the draw one?
No. Yes, sorry, that is the look at the top 3.
Okay.
And then I get to second, third, one. Yes, correct.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, go ahead. Here you go.
We go active. We draw a card. We done. And 7K into your leader.
Good old
On attack, I'll get active down.
9. Kind of ideal
Yep.
swings for pressure.
8 into your leader.
I really had
That was my last one for Nami.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, I love it. My favorite.
Yeah, I had to get rid of it, but yeah.
So you go,
okay.
especially when
Yeah, I think so. Let me think for 1 second. Yep, we're gonna do good.
Or counter out
And
the
pass
first
the
one, definitely taking the second one rather.
2, 3, 4. Gonna drop
Even
the
if
10.
it's only 7 at that point.
Okay. Down in 2. Decisions. Here's where things get more complicated.
So this is a case where, again, where
go 5 into the rest of
this
the Zoro Juro.
provides value
Yeah, Zoro
that
Juro.
Fair enough.
Shanks just never could,
And then
because
get some value.
Zoro and
Go
Sanji
6
get
to
to
the leader,
restand
making
their 7K or less swingers.
2, 3.
They get to get additional swing off of them.
I go here.
So,
Yeah.
And you do
the
have
fact
the
that I
option to
can
put on the
make
top,
my
right?
leader
Or you can
8,000,
back up top.
more or less.
Look at 3 cards at the top
leader
of your deck and place them at the top or bottom of the deck
Okay.
yourself.
I thought so. I forget that buggy's only top.
Yeah, I think the buggy
Shanks
is
just
one
definitely
is the only
does.
top thing. I believe.
I think so too.
Do a lot. Yeah, but yeah, a very good question.
I'm not like on a Shanks smear
Okay,
campaign,
I go
but like
here.
a lot of
then I can do
people
this.
are saying that it's just
Yeah.
the best card in the deck now, and I
Choose.
just
Let's do this,
maybe
yeah.
an OP10.
Do this,
I
do
know
this,
the East is having
Okay,
success
keep these
with
three
it
on
because
top.
it's a slower meta over
And
there.
it's a 6K.
Yeah, 6 to the leader.
But I'm telling you, through 10 rounds,
That's
Shanks in my
Yep,
hand would
yep,
have been
yep,
a dead card in a
I'll
lot of
play.
these games.
Start on the block. Let's go.
Not an opinion.
It's the leader activated. Leader ability. Bounce me back to hand. Reach level.
Yeah,
Gets to bounce
that
the
seems alright.
Jinbei
In this
and
case,
restand the
we're gonna be back
Weevil, so he
anyways.
gets
That's
another
okay.
6K swing in,
I'll take
and
the
then
6.
gets to replay the Weevil
I'll go 6.
or the Jinbei
It is
and
mandatory, so I'm just gonna
establish
peek at them and put them in my deck.
Yeah, got him. Yeah, didn't mess it up last time.
effect.
Okay.
And this time I will 1K.
Which card is that?
That is the new 7 cost Sanji.
What is on just for quick reference?
Yep, it is a 7 cost 7K with an on play that I may return 1 or more. I usually only do 1. It gains rush and rest a 6 cost or less, so it can snipe a blocker or something.
Yeah, yikes. Alright, and then for 4 down, I'll play back out the Jinbei to play out a
Jinbei into
boa. I'll pass.
That is the one that's like
other boa
that draws a card if you have
I
down on
played
it, right?
my
Yeah, I have
Prodigy
it on
deck as
If I
well.
have one or
Yeah.
more, like we're just on one. If I
If
attack
you
or
have a
block,
down
Yeah, I
attack,
got
you
you.
and you have 5 of the cards in hand when you
I
attack or
have
blocks, you
I wonder how
get
similar our blue greens on G-list are. I mean, this is the only deck I really play, but I do have one. I have 4 of that boa, and yeah, I have a little bit of a Warlords action going on, so I wonder how similar we are.
you should branch out. I think that's my favorite part of the game is building new decks.
Nine.
Man, I want to win National Star Luffy next year.
Just time walk the
Oh, okay.
leader
Yeah,
effect.
That's basically where I'm at. Yeah, so I think this deck has a lot of legs to it, and
New
I love it.
that
I'm at 8. I'm gonna activate my leader. Go to 9.
You got it.
Let's see here. I guess this makes things just a tiny bit awkward for you, so I think we don't mind it. New game. Make my leader 8,000 until the start of my next turn.
Mhm.
Swing in 8,000 to your leader.
8,000 to leader. Check. Here. I'll go here.
8K still just great
2 and 2.
pressure.
Sounds good.
2Ks.
Down to 3 cards in hand.
Yeah, I'm just
I was
gonna
double checking what that
What is
battle
the
card
scratch man
was.
and pool underneath the Ezo, right? What's the other 3 cost there?
Ezo, the same
Or
card.
what's
It's just
Oh, it's the same card, just an altar. 5 cards in hand.
I will be.
He's going to his turn. But again, like I said, being able to more or less negate their entire leader effect
Do I do this or do that?
gives me a lot of agency coming out of these next couple turns.
Let's see.
Again, they're one of the leaders that have a down X1 effect, so when you're a 7 and 8 cost, the down X1 effect is even more annoying to have to invest into if they're not going to be able
It should be like this.
to pressure you at the same time, right?
Go 8's a leader, draw 1.
It does go straight for the
Because I have
boa draw card.
Then you have 5 left over after that.
That means that
Yeah,
he's
5
not going to be able to
And
restand
that's now an
it,
8K.
which is
And your effect only restands 7K or less, correct?
Correct. I cannot
I'm
restand
surprised
boa.
that he swung
Gotcha.
that way, but we take it.
Yeah, I'll give you that exotic.
Let's rest 2. I'm gonna play out Buckman. Buckman plays a Weevil Worsted from my hand. I'm gonna play out this Weevil to draw 1.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to
Because we
attach
did
Street to my
swing
leader.
the blocker,
Go 8
there's
into you,
kind of
bounce attack,
2K.
restand boa. Oh, sorry, cannot restand. I'm
In
just
this case, he
bouncing
does.
attack. Almost freaking cheated by accident. So,
Okay.
no
Go to play
no
this
restraining.
Zoro
Okay.
was about to
And it's
restand
AK
the boa, but said she's an
And you bounce
8K.
bucket. And now you have 5 cards in hand because of the boa.
And then he
actually,
does realize
yeah, you can
he
restand
can
the Weevil.
restand the Weevil. I said,
No,
yeah,
you're good.
for sure, that's fine.
8 to leader, bounce back the 2 cost, and then restand Weevil.
For sure. So 8K to make you. How many cards do you have in hand now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I did play
8, I am kind
2K
of
bounces back.
Yep, you drew 2. Yep,
not wanting to
I will
take
take
it.
this
I
8K.
think I am a
Sure.
little bricked up
Okay,
at this
on
point
that notion, I
for
will pass.
my
5 in hand.
kind of current state comfort, or maybe I was holding on to 2Ks
And Buggin has
for
counter, right? She has a 1K?
subsequent turns.
The 2 costs? Yeah, 1K counter. Yeah. Oh, no, okay,
We'll
gotcha.
checking that the Buckin mom did not
Yeah,
have
it's a little bit of
counter.
trade-off, I feel.
Correct, it was a brick.
If it was 1,000, it'd be perfect, but kind of have to do a give and take on this.
Oh, yeah, always. Yep, as is the name of the game. I can tell you I didn't plan for this matchup.
Yeah,
what
I
did we
was
do?
planning on, I think the second half of Luffy, I was planning for you as well. But, I mean,
I'm starting movement. Yeah.
At this stage, I think I'm basically.
do you best play at the time?
I'm like fairly certain I'm not going to be able to pressure
That is 7.
lethal, but I am just fine
For a
to
useless captain kit. -1. I'm a 7K.
grind out a little bit more pressure
Activate leader to get that down pat.
while being safe.
No value there.
This kid obviously does a great job of dealing with that, even though they are able to utilize their leader effect to great effect at this point. Still,
10 into your leader.
it is still only going to be a 7K swing that they get to restand and start to the
10 into your
1K.
leader.
And here we do pressure with 2 10K swings. I'm just demanding a lot out of them.
And I will pass with 5 cards in hand and a 7,000 power leader.
Now we're feeling pretty strong
See what I can
for
do.
a Roger
push the
next
endgame
turn
here.
as well.
That's what I have to do.
I'm overall feeling pretty good about just winning this game from here.
Now I got 10, right? Yeah.
Cards on him?
5.
Assuming I'm recalling the hand isn't
The most
trash.
efficient plays. There's
I think he just ends up maybe going all in because he feels that pressure as well.
Can you tell me how many 2Ks in your trash?
I have, I think, 1 2K in my trash and 3 1Ks in my trash.
Okay, 3 1Ks. Alright, thank you. Yeah, I'm going for it. I just have to decide on the math here. I think I just. Do I want to do that though? No. Let's go for it. 1, 2.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of mathing out the most amount of swings he can make happen.
Something like this. 7.
So he's just kind of mapping out what lethal he can apply.
Okay, so redraw. Okay.
Might have a cut here.
4.5.
3 hand now.
3.
I'll go for 7 twice.
7 to leader, bounce back Jinbei, reach legal.
7, bouncing the Jinbei, so he has one more counter in hand.
Now I have 5.
And getting another 7k swing.
Let's
Take
go
that.
4.5.
At
4
this
hand.
point, I'm kind of realizing with Giant, I'm more or less invincible. Still assuming
Question
there's
myself,
a
do I split evenly or do I just do 2 big
possible.
attacks? 7, 7, 8. Oh, 7 to leader, activate effect.
7.
Found it.
The bottom move.
I will Gum Giant. -2.
Probably
Use his
two
catch.
Giant out of the 7.
And then just, if you got it, 8 to leader.
At most, he's going to be able to swing an 8,
GG.
and we do have the
Holy moly.
2k for the 8.
I mean, let's play out. Yeah, let's do the thing.
Okay. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
8K.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah, GG. Gear 5.
I was about to say whether
Wow. Yeah, I needed 2K off of the Giant.
Yeah, I was hoping to get the events out.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
would win.
The 1K was my last life too to get me up to 7. So yeah, it was.
So now,
yeah,
come to
Yeah.
round 9.
But Gear 5 kind of punishes.
Happy with that one.
I have.
And I think we get back to purple.
Play Ogre. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Again, they're going first.
Yes.
So,
Look at this, Sanji. Yes.
I thought this matchup was going to be extremely important that we win die rolls, and I was feeling not great about losing these die rolls,
And
but
that's a little bit.
going second apparently,
I will grab
when
a
you
Zoro.
do hit everything,
Yep,
is still
Passenger.
manageable for us. I do like his BV down overall.
I'll use the ability. That one.
Four cards,
Four.
Juro.
5. 4, 5.
In general, like if they're playing Zoro Juro instead of Mr. 2, that's pretty good for us.
Get the Sangoro.
Mhm.
That's the turn.
Active. Draw.
Buyback, I guess. Generally it'd be a little lower
What
swing.
does this mean for
But
me?
realistically, Mr. 2, they're only getting the 1 swing in, so maybe not
Yeah,
really.
awesome.
And depending on how
4,
it grinds
4.
out. And
Mr. 2 on foot. Active down on foot. Swing 7 to your leader.
Like Mr. 2 makes it really annoying if you go to like Mr. 2 and a kid, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm a 7k leader, but you get a free 2k out of me at the same time. Whereas if it's a Zoro Juro, they had to commit a down.
Is that Nico Robin blocker on the bottom one?
Yes.
Yeah,
so
cool.
they can't say better or worse. But yeah, 2k and 1k early. Don't mind seeing that from them.
Yeah. Go 60.
1K with that Zoro Juro.
6, just give them 1k, don't mind.
How many cards again?
I have 6. Nope, 5 because I 1K.
5 cards. 5 cards.
Mm,
Okay, Sanji. Oh, sorry. Can't do that yet. I gotta get ability first.
And again, it was that turn I was
Yeah,
kind of considering
yeah.
swinging in with that.
Yeah, I will
2,
go for
2. Get just the value out of it while I can.
Sanji, turn it on. Now rest your Mr. 2.
Lies.
I'll go.
The last
5
other
into the
couple
Mr. 2.
game.
Yep.
But again, yeah,
Seven
nobody gonna answer to
7
me.
lead. 7 lead.
7 in the face.
I will take. I'm trigger.
Pass.
Active. Draw. Down. Eight to your leader.
Don't hear 7 drop. Probably gonna play queen
Yep.
here.
Trigger.
So just going
Then I'll pay 5
a good
for
amount
a
of
queen.
pressure. They
Minus
take
1 down.
that. We love to see it.
Draw 2.
We do develop a
I will
block here.
trash a
Cycle some
card.
reds here. Lovely.
And you have 6 down at this time, correct?
Yeah, I'll get 8 on it.
Yeah.
And I think I'm debating pretty heavily about what I want to trash.
I'll trash that 9 cost.
Yep.
I'll pass my turn.
And I do elect to cycle out the
Go on,
cost
keep
shifting.
go 6 lead.
6 lead. We will give you a 1K.
I think I was debating like cycling out. I think I maybe had two Mr. Twos in hand, or I think about debating out cycling out a 1K or the 9 cost Luffy. I think there, but
70.
I elected to keep the
2K.
counter, and I think I ended up
4 cards
playing
left.
through a
5.
98 again, if I had to guess.
Not that many.
Family's starting to wake up around me, so I may cut or have an abrupt cut at some point. See. Would like to finish this up and get it edited today for Christmas for y'all.
Uh, 6 lead.
Okay.
Sure.
6,
Go 7.
1K,
I'll play Luffy Taro, Zoro Jiro.
Luffy Taro
Stop.
into another
Zoro
Zoro Duro. Again, not really minding the Zoro Duro over
I
the
think about it can be a
Zoro,
giant.
kinda like that for us.
Okay, that's good.
I'll use leader ability. Round 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll pass.
How many cards do you have?
I'm gonna do
I have 8.
lead effect to
Okay.
get one more
Let's go.
Don out there.
Go.
So,
Go.
assumingly,
Activate leader. Go
keeping
9.
up a Gum Gum Giant.
9 for 9 cost wiper.
And you just
My
go
leader is
straight into
8,000 until the start of my
Newgate,
next turn.
AK
Yep.
leader,
8,000 into your leader.
and kapow. Probably a pretty safe
8,000.
Gum Gum Giant play from them. Relatively speaking, I think we do get to pressure Purple Luffy very effectively. Where, um, you know, if they drop below 8 Don, you
How many
don't
cards
just
in hand?
have free ways to
I
get the
have
turn like
4
we do.
cards.
4 cards in hand.
So, and when I say that, I mean if we go to 7 and then we go to 9 to start our turn, our leader effect gets us to 10 without having to take a life.
That's tough.
This game's tough.
Can you remind me of Newgate's ability again? What's his ability?
Down X2 when attacking, KO one up to one of your opponent's 3K or less characters. So hypothetically, Nico Robin
He's
blocker.
thinking pretty hard about,
Yep.
I know, I want to counter out of that. Maybe also kind of being caught
Or
up
Mr.
in
2
the
is kind of
fact of,
nice too.
you know,
Yep.
looks like he is on 8 Don
That's
right
tough.
now. So if he does this, he'll only go to 8 Don next turn. And the implications of that. And that kind of immediately becomes the case with either of their 9 costs, realistically. Um, they don't get to just free refund themselves like we do. If they then Gum Gum Giant, they're only coming back to 9 at 10.
2 back. Draw 2.
Pass with an 8,000 leader.
What's that?
I said I'll pass with an 8,000 leader.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'll draw 2 down. I'll start with 8 at least.
8 at lead. I will take an 8.
Here's a free swing. Alright, I'll take that.
Another 8 at lead.
I will 1K out of that 8.
1K out of the AK Sanji swing. I guess point of debating whether or not to commit an 8K or a 9K with one of the Zoro Duros. There's end up being another 8K off of the Zoro Duro. I do have the 2K. It's starting to grind down my hand size a little bit. Super relevant. It's 5 left over. Could do 2 more 8K swings if
That's what
you
I draw. I
wanted.
draw 2 cards.
He doesn't end up playing the Onaki.
Then I will pass.
Do I miss this turn up? I think I maybe don't use Newgate effect effectively here. Maybe.
How many cards?
Nami. I feel like I did end up kind of. And this is round 9, right? I do start to get that mental wear and tear after 7+ hours of One Piece. But no, we do start KO
12K
the
into
Nami.
leader. KO the Nami.
Down to 0.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
8 on left.
pressure immensely with 12K. I think we can just go straight. 14K. No, I played it safe. I end up playing.
How many cards do you have in hand now?
10 now.
Jeez, that's so funny.
I'm sure I'm playing safe. I think I play Youth's Captain Kid and leave open 2 Don, maybe. I don't get rewarded immensely for playing to all my outs. Realistically speaking, now if I was heavily debating going 14, I was kind of considering what it would mean if he's got
Man,
like I think he look at so 7
this
cards in hand, like
is
it's
interesting.
not
Crazy game.
unreasonable to think that
Yeah,
a
this
Gum
is
Gum
the
Giant
tournament right
can
here, I
counters
think.
out of a 14K
Oh
swing.
man,
It really is not.
10 cards is so bad.
That's a lot of cards.
How many 2Ks are in your trash?
In trash, I have 1.
Oh
I
god,
have 1 combo though.
it does not bring confidence. Realistically, if I try to play,
I'm not.
I go to 10 next turn.
I know I'm kind of playing to
Or
a
use Captain Kid.
dangerous out,
Make my leader a 7K.
but
Activate my leader effect.
I don't
Swing
think I'd
7,000
kill
to you.
14 here.
7 into
So
money.
we just go
Yep.
7.
Okay. I'll give you a 2 and a 1.
Yep. And I will
Yep, 2
pass my
and a
turn.
1.
Okay.
So even if it's a Gum Gum Giant, 2, 1, that's already
7,000 meter.
12.
Draw. Okay, 2 down.
If he has another 2 and a 1, he's out of 14. And now he has the agency, but I am the 7K leader, so there's basically no free swing. I mean, take away quite a few of his potentially free swings. But I do just kind of play to every possible out.
11. That's
The real annoying part with
friendly,
this game
this
state
one.
is having to be concerned with Usohachi and how you play around Usohachi. Whether or not you just kind of give away the queen blocker immediately
So
if
I don't
they
have any
swing in,
choice. I'm gonna die next turn.
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Technically,
I
I
feel like
guess
you
I
had to
could
have
play
enough 2K
no
so for my last
Sanji,
one,
but
but we'll talk about it after, I
after
guess.
committing
Yeah,
7 Don, where the 7K
I guess if you
leader
play
is a
Musahachi, that means I
little
was a 2K.
bit better for us
I'll
than
go
Sanji
for
at this point.
yeah, that's fine. I'll go for 7 at lead.
We're gonna go for the free 7,
7 at lead.
and
With 3 left
I
over.
think
7.
I have. I'm trying to remember what I have in hand. I definitely have a Gum Gum Giant and a brick. And I can't remember if the last card is a 1K or a 2K. Or don't think it's another brick because I end up using basically everything. I have the blocker.
So many decisions.
I know I
So
don't end up
looking
blocking
for that.
because it doesn't end up getting Usohachi.
I'm gonna take it.
Debating if I could
Okay.
just straight
trigger.
up
Uh,
use a giant there
I'll play
maybe
Usohachi
while
and
I'm
rescue
kind of
queen.
toying with
Yep.
the Don. Does get rested. And could have just blocked it, but then that was the problem, is if I just block it, yep. I was thinking about blocking it, but if I block it, he just gets to distribute his Don more aggressively. Um, he gets 3 Don more available to him because he doesn't have to use those so high. And then he can also just pressure in with like the Zoros and Luffy's being 9s. And that just becomes a pain in my ass real quickly. So I did think that making him commit the Usohachi was worthwhile. Get out of his hand for when I'm trying to crack back and win.
But 7 lead.
He goes in for
Okay.
7. We 1K. And now he's debating whether he wants to go in for another 7 or if he wants to just go. I think I did have a 2K in hand, and that was why I didn't counter out of the first one, actually. And I think that backed my
Usohachi?
out life. Yep,
And then 13
Usohachi was in my hand,
Oh.
back my out life. So then he swings 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I have basically just a Gum Gum Giant.
Giant. -2.
Roger out
Let's
of my
see.
hand. Draw 2.
Giant.
Get a
14.
second Gum Gum Giant.
Wow.
Holy hell. Wow.
Counter.
Really?
Oh, wow. I had to play for the draw.
So 7K.
Wow. Yeah.
Plus 8 is now 14.
Yeah, would that have been different if I just won 50? I
And
don't
he's
think so.
like, wow, giant and
I don't
giant
think so.
is brutal. But
Whoa.
what an out to play
Giant
to,
is a
right?
giant.
Like,
I like it.
if
Oh,
I
man.
even just swung one more down,
Go active. How many cards in
I
hand?
lose that 100%.
No, don't active.
I
Surely.
played
We
too
activate
many
leader. Well, we draw a
opportunities
card
to
before we
go
activate
down.
leader. We go
And
19K into lead with.
free
Okay.
default skill, but we're going 8 and 2 or 7 and 2 going into round 10.
I think that's it.
Yeah, because I got like an 8, a 7, and a 6 coming after that. So.
And
I had 100%, right? Yeah. So if you didn't pressure too, I had a Roger.
Well, fuck it.
insane game.
Keep.
And now round 10, we do have Shanks. This is for top 64.
You too? Pass the turn.
I think he wins the die roll and I'll keep that second.
Couple down. Pass the turn.
I do end up full screening that.
Alright,
for
pass turn.
too long.
Go
Did have
active.
that Sanji out early,
Draw.
which can have some pressure.
Here we are going to go for
Didn't get to ramp on
a Mr.
2.
Two.
Do we do get the
Sure.
bond
Get
clay
back
on
down.
3 though? So
We'll
we
give
got ramp
We will
up
take it.
there.
No trigger.
Alrighty.
Here's
How many cards do you
full screen, makes
I
it feel a
have
little
1, 2,
better.
3, 4, 5, 7. We will spend
Pressure him down to
5
free
on
life
Yasop.
already,
You're a
which
leader
is
plus
kind of
1k
nice.
till the end of your turn.
Yasop makes his leader 6k.
We'll give you 1k.
He was end up saying later how he's maybe thinking playing the Sanji out wasn't the best idea as being down to 2k. But it does offer. But I didn't really realize with the Sanji picking up a life is they can use it as
We're
a
going
Roger
to
play. If you leave them at
spend 1
1
plate to
and that Sanji's on
5.
board, they just pick up that last life when they want
We
Roger,
will
which is crazy.
grab. Use the 2k where I can activate main rest him to minus 2k something. 7, I have 8 now. Yeah.
Off the search.
Down. Activate leader.
Two, 8 into 9.
6k leader right now. So I'll use 7 for use as Captain Kid.
Sure.
Minus 1 down to make my leader 7,000. And
7.
our currently 6. Yep. We will go 9 into your leader.
9 with the leader.
6. We will give you 2 2k.
Yep. That's my tricks. Pass my turn.
Grab 2 2Ks. We don't mind that.
And just a reminder, is your leader still at 7k now?
Yep. Exactly the same as Yasop. Yeah, until the start of my next turn.
Gotcha. How many cards in hand?
Great question. 6 of them.
Let's do. We'll go.
Good. Yeah.
7K.
2 down to
Going
Yasop.
for a dragon.
We will go
good.
8 to life, and we'll go ahead and
We'll
minus
go
1k.
8, 9 from this
Right.
game state.
That's 8 into my
Sure
7.
strong.
I will go 2.
My wife was walking through, and I was like, "No, don't turn that light on." That makes glare.
What was that?
So
My one
as
walking through
you
just trying to be quiet. I'm
it
telling you,
gets
doesn't
quite a
have
bit
to pick up.
darker as the natural light
we
starts
will
to go away.
go.
We've got the kitchen light keeping things going. I think I mentioned that earlier in the game.
Onami and Zoro.
2 and a 1.
And
There
then
2 1s actually there. That
4.
sucks.
9. We'll go ahead and we'll go 9 to life.
Yeah, we will take that 9.
Swing.
All right, now pass turn.
Go active.
We kind of get pressured here too, and unfortunately,
Well, we
aggressive
got down.
manner.
Here we are.
Because I did have to play through the kid instead of the new gate.
Seems like a good start.
Do get Tsunami here.
Guess it's okay start. Good day, Sanji.
Get a 2K.
I'm going to think for just a second here.
Yeah, you're good.
So first, your leader, copying Drace.
Sure.
Again, the
9 inch leader.
2.
We'll go ahead and take the 9. No trigger.
Take that.
$8,000 into your leader, -1, making mine 7,000
And the kid for 8.
How much is it swinging for?
8,000.
Leader 7.
Let's go ahead. We will.
It's pretty good. So now we're back to 5 damage.
Use the leader effect.
I'll activate my leader effect to go down back.
Yep.
Activate my leader effect to get back up to 10 active down.
That's right.
Yes.
This is good. 5 for a queen.
Sure.
-1.
Queen.
Drop
Like to see that.
Let's go 8 into. Wait a second.
Swing in another 8
because that Nami was played this turn. It's chill. It'll be 10k.
10 to life?
Yep.
Sure. 10 is fine.
1.
All right, cards in hand.
Pretty great.
I have 6 cards in hand.
Send 10 on Big Shanks.
That's a play.
He plays out of Shanks.
We will start by sending Uta into the Bonclay.
Strong
That's
play
good.
for sure.
And
Uta
then,
into Mr. 2. Easy cleanup.
mm,
I'm a 7k leader, so
many cards
Yasop's
are you
not going to be able to
I have 6 in
pressure.
hand.
But he is able to go 9 into my leader with.
How many cards are you hand?
I have 6 in hand.
What should be? You reckon?
Life. I'll give you a 2k and a 1k.
Four in hand?
Yes, sir.
Knowing 12 is coming
Yeah.
next.
We will send Shanks into the Eustace.
I think
Yeah, kind of thought you might do that. I think
block.
we will block that. Yeah.
All right,
Block 12.
I will. I think is it? I'll pass turn.
Oh, we go to me.
And you have how many cards?
He
6 in hand.
has, I want to say he just said it was like 5 cards in hand or 6 cards in hand. And I am debating heavily what I want to do here. I think it was 6 in hand. And this is where I throw the tournament, quite frankly. If I kind of tripped up on the Shanks math and pussy out thinking, I mean, quite frankly, because my earlier Shanks opponent had a bajillion counter. And I know that they can brick up, but I also know that they play like 12 to 16 2Ks and some zero cost events and Red Hawks. So if I just jam a Gear 5 here, my useless Captain Kidd is naturally a 7K because of these Shanks. So between his Shanks effect on this turn, he can 2K out of a 6K swing from either my leader or Kidd after the leader effect from him, and then he can 2K and 1K out of the other 7K swing. And that would leave him at 1 life with 3 cards in hand and going into a Gear 5 turn. Go to my Gear 5 turn. The all-in swing from me is 10 from my leader. If he, I kind of got a little bit mentally caught up on this math, thinking it was going to be a 9K that he could then, um, or the 10K. No, I had it right. It was a 10K that he can make into a 9K, and if he has a zero cost event or just a two 2Ks and a 1K, I lose flat out. And then my Gear 5 swing doesn't matter. In addition to this, they are playing usually the zero cost red event, which has a trigger for minus 3,000. So even if he doesn't have the 2K, 2K, 1K, and I connect, if he leaves the leader effect for my leader or for my Gear 5 swing, which is going to be base 11 because of the Shanks on his board, he then leader affects me. And if there's a trigger from that zero cost event, that would just crush me. I would be down to a an 8K swing at that point because it's minus 3,000, and he just needs 2 2Ks to get out of that swing. If this list is on the Gum Gum Red Hawk, that also has a trigger to minus 10K. And, so there's a lot of ways that I could have been countered out of there. And I was kind of paranoid based on my last Shanks opponent having just counter for days.
How many 2Ks are in your
But
trash?
quite frankly, I
I
could have
have
just gone
1,
for
2, 3.
lethal and 1 here with the Gear 5. And really wish I had, right? That would have been prizing off of a Gear 5 decision. And it's even worse, really, because
Trash
as I
uses
played
Captain Kidd.
out, I played
Draw 2.
through an
Check.
Onami. And
Then
after I played Onami, you know what card I forgot about? Fucking Gold D. Roger. Not only did I forget about Gold D. Roger, actually
you
remember it
go
when I swing, because I'm like,
9,000 into your leader.
just take
I
it.
have
And
5
that's
hand
where
after
he
that.
does remind me later that the Sanji would have been able to take his life
Nine.
anyways, even if I tried to
There's
like
current.
Omega Brain not put him down to 0. But just man, he top decks his Roger. I didn't
No trigger.
ask if it was his only Roger, but he
You
does draw the
2K,
Roger
2K.
off the top of the deck, and uh, it's an
Yeah, I know. I realized it when I saw him with the kid. Yeah.
so Roger off the top does just create lethal for him, and just a brutal loss for me, especially when the Gear 5 just wins oh so comfortably. So the whole tournament can come down to one decision, and definitely beating myself up for not just going for it. Again, if you consider this the math that's there, it's not insane to think that he has the counter, or I could just lose to a trigger. There's up to 4 to 6 potential triggers there, depending on how many zero costs and if they're on Red Hawks or not, which I know some aren't. So maybe that was a paranoia there too, but um, yeah, just such a brutal one to lose off of not going for the final kill, which would have been pretty damn rewarding. So after this, based on tiebreakers and the games that we played, we did finish 7-3, 82nd overall. Tiebreakers out of the top 64. Really sucks for us, but overall had a great showing into some very strong decks and some very good players. I know for a fact that two of the players that beat me, obviously the one that beat me round 10, and then also I think it was the other Shanks player, also top 64. So that deck obviously is very strong, good pilots. So kind of got to take what you get with that. I think the first two, not a whole lot I could have really done besides maybe going a bit more aggressively early, taking more cards out of their hand. But the same flip side, if they turn back on their aggression on me, that game could have just ended quicker for me too. So hard to say there. Game 10, 100% blew it on my end. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of going through this journey with me. I am currently registered for every Treasure Cup in February. So assuming it works out to play in a few of those, you'll get some more content out of that. And I do have another unlocking hockey video coming soon too. So if you're still here, please do subscribe. I hope you're enjoying the content. I want to see me continue to grow and the community continue to grow for all the RP Luffys out there. Join the Discord, and I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas as well. So thanks.